Hanhai Art Academy. Inside the girls' dormitory, a piercing guttural roar echoed continuously as the door shook violently under the assault. The sexy lace underwear and miniskirts hanging on the rack bounced up and down. Lin Yang pressed desperately against the iron door, sweat streaming down his face as he struggled. The gap grew wider and a bloodied arm reached in, clawing and thrashing wildly. "Come help!" Lin Yang shouted anxiously, turning his head to yell at the two girls behind him. The girls huddled fearfully on the bunk bed, staring at the bloodied arm, too terrified to approach. "What's wrong with you? A grown man can't even hold a door. We're girls, how can you ask us? A big man can't even handle such a small thing. What a disgrace." The two girls didn't help, but instead mocked and ridiculed Lin Yang. Lin Yang, both frustrated and furious, couldn't help but roar, "All of you shut up. Find a hammer now." The zombie's hand had already reached, and yet the two still had the nerve to be sarcastic. They were simply asking for death. "You dare yell at me? Where would a fairy-like girl like me keep a hammer? It's all your fault for luring these monsters here." The two continued complaining, completely oblivious to the danger they were in. What the hell? Lin Yang was fuming with rage. He really wanted to let go of the door and let the zombies in to devour these two fools. Calm down, calm down. They were just two idiots not worth dying for. After a brief moment of composure, Lin Yang spotted an iron box nearby, grabbed it, and slammed it hard onto the zombie's arm. Thump, thump. After several blows, the arm broke off, and the door finally shut. Panting heavily, Lin Yang slumped to the floor, trembling with lingering fear. That was close. He almost became zombie food. You ruined my makeup box. You damn security guard. That box cost 3 months of your salary. Pay up, or I'll expose you online and ruin your life." The two girls kept shouting, their voices slap. The next moment, Lin Yang raised his hand and slapped her left cheek with a crisp sound. You dare hit me." The slapped girl froze for a few seconds, then burst into a louder scream. "He'll call the police and say you raped me. He'll make you rot in prison. You're dead, you damn security guard." The other girl joined in, cursing through clenched teeth. "Oh, sorry, I forgot about you." Slap. Another slap landed, and the girl's face instantly swelled as she stumbled back 2 steps. "Wah! You dared hit me." She stared at Lin Yang in shock and anger, utterly incredulous. She, who always had a flock of loyal simps, never imagined any boy would dare to strike her. Worthless. Lin Yang snorted coldly, grabbed both girls by the hair, dragged them to the balcony, and pressed their heads down. "Open your dog eyes wide and see." On the playground below, a large group of students and teachers had turned into zombies, staggering and running, pouncing on the living and tearing at them savagely. Desperate cries for help, bloodthirsty roars, miserable weeping. Pools of blood everywhere, shocking severed limbs and broken arms. Even from the 6th floor, the strong stench of blood was nauseating, dizzying, and sickening. Ugh! After a few seconds, the two girls couldn't hold it anymore and vomited heavily. They collapsed on the floor, their faces pale, bodies trembling uncontrollably, eyes filled with terror and despair. So horrifying. Everyone had turned into zombies. Blood and limbs were everywhere, like a scene from the apocalypse. You're the school's security guard. You have to protect us. It's your duty to protect us. Right. Both were nearly scared out of their wits, speaking incoherently, actually expecting Lin Yang to risk his life. "Protect you?" Lin Yang sneered. "I get $3,000 a month and am supposed to risk my life for you." In the apocalypse, the school's management had turned into zombies, so there was no salary anyway. He had worked for a month for nothing. And after all the resentment he had swallowed, why would he risk his life to protect these two idiots? Besides, the campus was infested with zombies. As an unarmed security guard, he couldn't even protect himself, let alone two girls. Though Lin Yang had once served in a special forces unit and was a rank of a king of soldiers, that was 3 years ago. The apocalypse is finally here. A perfect chance to take revenge on the Zhou family. "I won't die here like a coward." Lin Yang smoked gloomily, full of unwillingness. 3 years ago, during home leave, his family's house was forcibly demolished. His mother and younger sister were injured. He struck out in anger, killing one and seriously injuring 8. Afterwards, some people vouched for him, and he was discharged early. Back home, the Zhou family kept targeting them. His mother died of anger, and his only sister died in a car accident. The Zhou family was behind it all. Lin Yang swore revenge, but the Zhou family was the local richest, powerful, with many experts. Alone, he couldn't fight them. He nearly died several times. Finally driven away, he hid and became a small security guard at the school. For 2 years, Lin Yang dreamed of revenge every night, but cruel reality made him realize there was no chance. Now the apocalypse had arrived. His opportunity had finally come. "I must not die here." Lin Yang was unwilling. He had to fight his way out and avenge his mother and sister. He must personally destroy the Zhou family. Ding. The apocalypse survival system is binding. Binding successful. Apocalypse survival mode activated. Host will receive 1 supernatural ability reward for each beauty acquired. Survival points activated. Host gains 1 survival point every 10 seconds, redeemable for supplies in the shop. Ding. Novice gift pack being delivered. Host stamina, physique, and neural reflexes enhanced comprehensively. Infinite level backpack delivered. Friendly reminder reward items placed in backpack, including enhanced Desert Eagle 8 Magnum magazines, 1 cookery knife. Please check. Note: system currently has no resurrection function. If host dies, the system can do nothing. As the system's voice faded, Lin Yang felt a warm current rising through his body, enveloping him in a comforting heat, and an inexplicable power began to surge within him. At the same moment, he sensed a change within himself. Doomsday survival system. Earn extraordinary abilities by winning over beautiful women. Exchange for supplies in the mall. And a complete boost to my abilities. He was stunned for a moment, then flooded with elation. This was going to be system prompt. Host, don't try to cheat. The women you win over must score at least 80 points to qualify. Additionally, each time the host kills a mutated zombie, you will gain corresponding ability points to exchange for ability techniques. The bowtie's appearance level directly affects the reward item grade. Please be aware. Exchange Mall is now open. Currently available supplies include bottled purified water, 1 supply point self-heating hotpot, 1 supply point Magnum magazine, 1 supply point. So cheap. Watching the supply points increase by 1 every 5 seconds, Lin Yang was quite surprised. What was most valuable in the apocalypse? Gold. Beautiful women. None of those were valuable. Only food and drink were the hardest to obtain and the most precious. Gaining 1 supply point every 5 seconds meant 1780 points in a single day, a terrifying number in an apocalyptic environment. Even if he commanded a legion of 10,000 men, this would be enough to sustain them. The supplies are just a bonus. The real value lies in the extraordinary abilities. Lin Yang understood this clearly. Without enough strength to protect himself, no amount of supplies would matter. With that thought, he turned his gaze toward the 2 girls nearby. He had to admit the 2 girls might have sharp tongues and lack intelligence, but they were stunningly beautiful, tall, slender, and graceful. Just looking at them was exhilarating. No wonder they had a pack of devoted admirers. The tall one with fair, slender legs, a delicate waist, and enchanting features was named Tang Shichin, a classic beauty. The slightly shorter, extremely voluptuous girl with a baby face and ample chest was named Lin Yang. The 2 were close friends. Thud, thud, thud. Just then, Tang Shichin suddenly hurried to her bed, pulling out 3 packs of instant noodles, 5 packs of chocolate biscuits, and 2 cartons of milk. She had already realized the importance of food. Give them to me. Suddenly, a hand reached out from beside her, grabbing the noodles and biscuits, trying to snatch them away. It was Lin Yang. Oh, don't take my stuff. Your stuff? You still owe me 200 yuan. This? No. Ah, you bitch, you bit me. The 2 cursed at each other, neither willing to give in, and soon they were grappled. Lin Yang watched quietly, not taking the food himself. These items were worthless to him. Bitch. You're the bitch. They continued to fight, tear at each other, and exchange insults, each trying to overpower the other. They tore each other's clothes, exposing large patches of fair skin. Stop fighting. Enough. Lin Yang picked up the noodles and biscuits, shouting to stop them. But the 2 women were truly enraged and wouldn't listen. The shouting and tearing didn't stop, only grew fiercer. Lin Yang walked onto the balcony and threw the noodles and biscuits outside. Aya, what are you doing? Both women were dumbfounded, then furious, rushing at Lin Yang to attack him. Slap. Slap. The next moment, 2 resounding slaps landed. The girls held their swollen cheeks and instantly sobered up. They were no match for Lin Yang. Wah, you're not a man. You only bully girls. Their only food was thrown away, they couldn't win in a fight, and there was no escape. The 2 women felt utterly hopeless and began to sob quietly. Only crying now. Where was that earlier? Did you think a few packs of noodles and biscuits could keep you alive? Lin Yang stared coldly at the 2 women, his tone flat. You're adults. Don't you have any common sense? The women fell silent. Outside were zombies everywhere. A few biscuits and noodles wouldn't solve anything, even 10 times as much. Tang Shichin's face was ashen. She said despairingly, no food, no water, and no one will come to save us. We can only wait here to die. Moments before, she had secretly tried to call someone, but her phone wouldn't connect. The signal was down. Boo-hoo. I'm still so young, I don't want to die. Lin Yang couldn't help crying, her heart full of despair. At this moment, there was nothing but despair in their hearts. Maybe things aren't as bad as they seem. Lin Yang said calmly, speaking to the system in his mind. System, rate Tang Shichin. The next moment, the system responded immediately. Name Tang Shichin, age 19, appearance score 89, body score 86, intimacy experience 0. System prompt: if the host successfully wins over this woman, you will be rewarded with 1 epic level extraordinary ability, common, rare, epic, legendary, invincible. Upon hearing this, Lin Yang was quite surprised. Tang Shichin was in her junior year, about to graduate, with a stunning face and figure and surrounded by admirers. Yet she was still a virgin. Unbelievable. What about the other girl? Lin Yang continued to ask the system. Name Li Ying, age 19, appearance score 85, body score 90, intimacy experience 0. System prompt: if the host successfully wins over this woman, you will be rewarded with 1 epic level extraordinary ability. Lin Yang was even more astonished. This Li Ying was also a virgin. When had his luck turned so good? In his eyes, these two girls were typical little fairy types, surrounded by simps, the kind who played around. Unexpectedly, both were virgins. What are you staring at? Sensing Lin Yang's inappropriate gaze, Tang Shiqin glared at him warily, clutching her chest and threatening. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because we're the only 3 left in this dorm. If you try anything, I'll open the door and let the zombies in. We'll all die together. Lin Yang was taken aback, not expecting her to be so sensitive. Brother, protect me and get me out of here. Afterward, you can do whatever you want with me, okay? Unexpectedly, Li Ying pressed herself against him, extending her fair foot to tease him, pulling her top down slightly to reveal ample cleavage. Faced with absolute desperation, the two chose different paths. Tang Shiqin refused to compromise, while Li Ying opted for seduction. Li Ying believed that with her impressive figure and assets, a little incentive would be enough to reel in this little security guard like a fish on a line. I don't like to force people. Lin Yang shook his head, saying calmly, it won't be long before you'll be on your knees. No food, no drink, and the water source was contaminated. He was certain that these two pampered girls wouldn't laugh. When people are extremely hungry, they are capable of anything. Beg you. Impossible. Tang Shiqin sneered with disdain. Who do you think you are? Just a little security guard, and you actually see yourself as a savior. Li Ying lowered her head in silence, also believing that Lin Yang lacked the capability to lead her to escape. To this, Lin Yang simply smiled without a word. He was curious to see if they would still be stubborn when their stomachs growled with hunger later. Grr. Just then, the sounds of zombie growls came from the corridor outside. Through the crack in the door, shadowy figures could be seen pacing back and forth, seemingly gathering to ram the door again. I need to clear out all the zombies on this floor and shut the iron door at the stairwell, or more will gather and become harder to deal with. Lin Yang pondered to himself. The female dormitory was unique, with separate iron doors on each floor, greatly enhancing its defenses. With that thought, he couldn't be bothered to waste words with the two girls. Turning his back to them, a flash of light flickered in his hand, and a brand new silver Desert Eagle appeared. He expertly checked the chamber, loaded the magazine, all in one fluid motion. To him, firearms were the most familiar old friends and the ultimate companions. Help! Just then, a piercing cry for help rang out from outside. It was a girl's voice. Without hesitation, Lin Yang pulled open the door and dashed out in a flash. The next moment, 2 towering dark figures came into view. Upon closer look, they were 2 large, burly black men. It was a girl's voice. Without hesitation, Lin Yang pulled open the door and dashed out in a flash. The next moment, 2 towering dark figures came into view. Upon closer look, they were 2 large, burly black men. Don't touch me. Get away. A beautiful girl in a white JK uniform was cornered against the wall by the 2 black men. Her face was a mix of shock and anger as she shouted at them sternly. But it was of little use. With her sweet features and graceful figure, she could be seen as a blend of Tang Shiqin and Lin Yang. So faced with her scolding, the 2 black men only grew more excited. Hee little junior, everything on this floor belongs to us now, including you. As long as you serve us well, we guarantee nothing will happen to you. The black man leered as he leaned in, inhaling the girl's perfume with a look of ecstasy, revealing a mouthful of bright white teeth. Both wore dreadlocks and garish clothes, their faces twisted in lecherous grins. The girl trembled with fear, her watery peach blossom eyes filled with utter despair. Falling into the hands of these 2 black devils, the outcome was predictable. We're foreign guests, so rescue teams will prioritize us. Stick with us and you'll have a chance to survive. You wouldn't want to be bitten to death by those zombies, would you? The 2 black devils chuckled, dangling a tempting offer. Their words did hold some logic. If anyone came to rescue, these 2 would undoubtedly be the first to be saved. There was no doubt about that. Just as the girl hesitated, one of the black men reached out with a groping hand, grabbed her clothes, and yanked hard, revealing a smooth, snowy white shoulder. Serve us well, and when the Dragon Kingdom's rescue forces arrive, we'll let you come with us. Otherwise, we'll leave you here to feed the zombies. Faced with their threats, the girl bit her red lips, her pretty face a mix of terror and fury. Click. Just then, the metallic scrape of a bullet being chambered rang out without warning. Huh. The 2 black men, especially sensitive to that sound, froze instinctively. Bang. The next moment, as Lin Yang pulled the trigger, the ear-splitting gunshot exploded like thunder. Ouch. Don't kill me. The 2 black devils yelped their primal terror, forcing them to drop their baseball bats and crouch down in panic. After realizing the shooter was just the little security guard at the gate, their fear vanished. Damn. It's that security guy from the entrance. Give me the gun, or I'll sue you for insulting foreign guests. Sabotaging international friendship. The The two cursed as they stood up, picked up the blood-stained bats, and swaggered over to Lin Yang brandishing their weapons. One reached for his Desert Eagle, while the other swung the bat at Lin Yang. Usually relying on their special status as black men, they bullied everyone on campus without fear. Faced with Lin Yang in his security uniform, they held him in contempt. Still acting tough, Lin Yang was slightly surprised that they dared to attack. The next moment he holstered the Desert Eagle, sidestepped the descending bat, and threw a swift, powerful punch. Bang! His fist slammed into one black man's abdomen, who collapsed with a scream, dropping his bat. After the system's enhancement, Lin Yang's strength had greatly increased. Even the burly black man couldn't withstand one punch. Damn! Seeing his companion fall, the other black man erupted in fury and swung his bat. But Lin Yang was faster. Before the bat could land, he kicked out, striking the black man's thigh and sending him tumbling to the ground. Then Lin Yang grabbed the black man's dreadlocks and slammed his forehead hard against the wall. Thud! The man's head split open, blood streaming as he collapsed, clutching his forehead and howling in pain. Afterward, Lin Yang walked over to the other man and stomped on his shin. Crack! A sharp snap echoed as the black devil's shin bone was brutally broken. Ah! Screams like a stuck pig filled the air. The school spends so much money on you every year, it'd be better spent on dogs. Lin Yang muttered, then turned to the girl, bending down to help her up. Are you okay? Woo-woo. I'm fine, thank you. Li Yuqing stopped, sobbing, her eyes red, gazing at Lin Yang with gratitude. All my father is a chieftain. How dare you, a lowly dragon kingdom security guard, hit me? He'll sue you for racial discrimination. Sue you for murder. And you damned little bitch, just you wait. The two fallen black devils were still howling, cursing, and threatening, oblivious to the gravity of the situation. Normally their threats were a surefire weapon against ordinary students. But this was the apocalypse now, and Lin Yang was no naive, inexperienced student. Still barking, Lin Yang's face darkened. He strode over and stomped on one's hand, grinding it under his heel. Crack, crack, crack. The black man's hand was soon crushed into a bloody, mangled mess. Ah! The pig-like screams echoed again, carrying far into the distance. The other black man was utterly stunned. He never imagined Lin Yang's methods could be so brutal and violent, so different from the students of before. Thump, thump, thump. Just then, chaotic footsteps sounded from the stairwell, accompanied by the low growls of zombies. The black man's screams and the smell of blood had drawn the zombies from downstairs. With a swift motion, Lin Yang summoned a Desert Eagle from the system, gripping the gun in his right hand while holding a cookery knife in his left. Li Yuqing, trembling with fear and tension, hid behind him, her body quivering uncontrollably. She had witnessed the horrifying scene of zombies attacking humans and felt a deep-seated dread. Soon, two female teachers who had turned into zombies charged forward with guttural roars. Bang! Bang! Lin Yang pulled the trigger and two bullets tore through the air, striking the zombies' foreheads with deadly precision, killing them instantly. Incredible! Li Yuqing was stunned, her eyes wide. Such flawless headshots were something she had only seen. The two burly black men were also astonished. They were familiar with firearms and knew the Desert Eagle's immense power and formidable recoil. Yet this young security guard fired one-handed, seemingly unaffected by the recoil. Successfully hunted two low-level zombies, experience points too. Lin Yang nodded, inwardly realizing the system's Desert Eagle and bullets were special, suppressing the zombies. What's your name? Lin Yang squinted at the stunning girl in a JK uniform before him. In both looks and figure, she rivaled Tang Shichin and Li Ying, a rare beauty. Li Yuqing replied, brother, my name is Li Yuqing. Oh. Before she could finish, a painful howl from one of the black men echoed behind them, accompanied by a low guttural roar. At that same moment, Lin Yang sensed a strong danger. He spun around to see a strange creature perched on the hallway windowsill, a black dog-like being with wings on its back. It exuded an evil aura, its eyes blood-red, fangs bared. Two long tentacles extended from its mouth, piercing through the skulls of the two black men. Gurgle, gurgle. Its tentacles greedily sucked blood, making a chilling sound. Li Yuqing was frozen in terror, staring blankly, forgetting to flee. Ayah! The two black men writhed and screamed in agony, their harrowing cries sending chills down the spine. A winged black dog. Coming to his senses, Lin Yang calmly raised the Desert Eagle and gently squeezed the trigger. Bang! The scorching bullet instantly tore through the black dog's head, exploding it with immense force. Host successfully killed a mutated zombie. Ability points 5. New achievement unlocked. Reward: rare grade battle suit, golden armor issued. Please check. Lin Yang had no time to inspect it. He quickly descended the stairs and slammed shut the iron door between floors. Clang! The heavy iron door shut with a bang. Hearing the noise, the zombies on the 5th floor surged over like a swarm. Over 20 of them, clawing frantically at the door, producing a piercing screech. Fortunately, the door was thick enough to hold them back. They could only snarl and bare their teeth at Lin Yang. Afterward, he returned to the 6th floor, meticulously checking every dorm and clearing them all. During this time, Tang Shichin and Li Ying still barricaded the door, tightly terrified that Lin Yang might break in again and harm them. Lin Yang paid them no mind. When hunger made them dizzy, they would naturally come out and beg him. Brother Lin Yang, Li Yuqing followed closely behind, watching him dispatch zombies with clean efficiency, her watery, peach blossom eyes brimming with admiration. This overwhelming sense of safety made her depend on him. It's okay now. Lin Yang put away the desert eagle and cookery, looking at this alluring slender beauty, and said seriously, there's something I must make clear to you. Li Yuqing tilted her head. What is it? As you can see, zombies are rampant outside, and my strength alone is quite... Lin Yang said meaningfully, so I only take responsibility for the safety of my own people. The implication was clear. Since they were strangers, he owed her no protection. I understand. Li Yuqing grasped his meaning instantly, looking at him with adoration, and saying, as long as you protect me, I'll stick with you. Having survived the zombie apocalypse, so far she was no fool. After witnessing the horror of the zombies and Lin Yang's abilities, she knew only by relying on him could she hope to live. Otherwise, death was certain. Host successfully acquired a beauty reward ability, Flame Control. Namely, Yuqing, age 20, beauty 92, figure 92, experience none. Hearing the system's notification, Lin Yang smiled with satisfaction. Flame Control. The name alone sounded powerful. Looking at the long-legged, slender-waisted beauty with her ample curves, Lin Yang felt even more pleased. Brother Lin Yang, I'm hungry. Do you have anything to eat? Li Yuqing leaned in, gazing at him pleadingly. Of course. Where's your dorm? They'll make you something good. Follow me. Li Yuqing's dorm was right across from Tang Shichin's. After exchanging for a self-heating hotpot from the mall, the fragrant aroma soon filled the air. Tang Shichin and Li Ying across the hall were the first to catch the scent, their hunger instantly spiking. They had clearly heard the commotion in the corridor and felt both shock and regret. They never dreamed that Lin Yang was so formidable, even killing a mutated zombie. Is Li Yuqing insane? Hooking up with a security guard? Smelling the enticing aroma, Tang Shichin swallowed secretly and muttered, selling herself for food. How shameless. Exactly. Li Ying, though filled with regret, said aloud, Lin Yang is just a security guard. Once his bullets run out, he's as good as dead. I'm not that stupid. The two criticized Li Yuqing's actions, yet their swallowing grew more frequent. It was already afternoon. They hadn't eaten since morning, and after a series of terrifying events, they were ravenous and utterly exhausted. Inside the dorm across the hall, famished, Li Yuqing quickly finished one self-heating hotpot, then looked at Lin Yang with pleading eyes. Brother, can I have another one? Sure. Lin Yang smiled, and with a flash of light in his hand, another hotpot appeared. With one resource point every 5 seconds, even 10 hotpots were no trouble. Li Yuqing was astonished and couldn't help asking, brother, how did you get that? I'm a mage with space. Lin Yang brushed it off with a smile. Creak. Just then the door across the hall suddenly opened. With a creak, the opposite dormitory door was cautiously pushed open a crack. Tang Shichin and Li Ying, unable to bear the thunderous hunger pangs in their stomachs, poked their heads out. One glance was all it took for them to be utterly dumbfounded. What did they see? A steaming hot pot from Hadaleo, its aroma wafting in all directions with bubbling red oil containing fatty beef rolls and various meatballs. Lin Yang was leisurely swishing a slice of tripe, while opposite him Li Yuqing ate in small bites, her pretty face radiant with satisfaction and happiness. What shattered them even more was that beside Lin Yang's hand lay several bottles of iced cola, a bag of Lay's potato chips, and even a box of Swiss rolls that looked exorbitantly expensive. How is this possible? With the apocalypse upon them, food and water were more precious than gold. Where did this little security guard get all these things? And a steaming hot pot at that. Gulp. Li Ying couldn't help but swallow hard, her stomach growling. Even that overpowering aroma of hot pot, like an invisible hand, wildly clawed at her insides, making her feel as if she were going mad with hunger. Instinctively, she wanted to step out and beg for a bite. Don't go. Tang Shichin grabbed her, lowering her voice, her eyes filled with reluctance and jealousy. Have you no pride? Going to beg him for a bit of food. But I'm so hungry. Li Ying was on the verge of tears, her lips cracked and her voice hoarse. Better to starve than to beg him. Tang Shichin gritted her teeth, staring fixedly at the opposite room, consoling herself. He's just a security guard. How much stock could he have? This must be all he has. After this meal, he'll be just as hungry as we are. Li Yuqing is a fool, short-sighted, selling herself for a single meal. Though Li Ying didn't argue aloud, her eyes were glued to that box of Swiss rolls, unable to look away. She hadn't eaten all day, and the hunger was devouring her sanity. Just then, bang! An unprecedented loud crash came from the iron door at the end of the hallway. The entire floor trembled violently, as if a 1,000-pound battering ram had slammed into the iron roar. Following that, a sharp, piercing, and malevolent screech, full of intelligence and hatred, rang out, distinctly different from the chaotic growls of other zombies echoing through the entire 6th floor. A cold, sinister aura instantly spread, casting a shadow over everyone's hearts. Tang Shichin and Li Ying's faces turned deathly pale in an instant. That sound. It was definitely not from an ordinary zombie. It's her. Lin Yang's expression also shifted slightly. He recognized that voice. It was the dormitory matron. That matron, usually acerbic and always picking on students, had also mutated and likely into an intelligent zombie meant it could think, command, and even use tools. Its danger level was more than 10 times that of an ordinary zombie. In the dormitory, Li Yuqing, frightened, put down her chopsticks, her face pale, staring nervously at Lin Yang. But Lin Yang calmly stood up, walked to his dormitory door, and glanced at the two terrified women opposite. He wanted them to see clearly who was the only god they could rely on in this apocalypse. Under their horrified gazes, Lin Yang slowly raised his right hand. He didn't draw a gun or a knife. Instead, with a thought, he activated his newly acquired ability. Flame. Whoosh. A ball of orange-red flame rose in the palm of his hand. The fireball wasn't large, only the size of a fist, but the scorching heat it emitted instantly raised the corridor's temperature by several degrees. The dancing flames reflected on everyone's faces, illuminating the shock and disbelief deep in their eyes. Fire. Sup. Superpower. Tang Shichin and Li Ying were completely stunned, their minds blank. They rubbed their eyes, almost believing they were hallucinating from hunger. A security guard could conjure a fireball like magic. Everything he had said before was actually true. He had truly gained extraordinary power. At that moment, Tang Shichin felt her worldview completely shattered. An unprecedented wave of fear and regret surged within her. Her previous taunts and mockery of Lin Yang now seemed so ridiculous and ignorant. The terrifying roars and heavy banging outside the door continued, each sound louder and closer. Their flimsy wooden dormitory door couldn't even hold back ordinary zombies, let alone that monstrous thing outside. Despair flooded over them like a tide. Lin Yang saw through their thoughts, but couldn't be bothered with them anymore. He turned to Li Yuqing, who looked at him with adoration, and said gently, "Yuqing, don't be afraid. After we eat, we'll reinforce this floor thoroughly. Tell me what you want to eat later, and I'll conjure it up for you." As if to prove his words, a flash of light appeared in his hand. A carton of pure milk and that beautifully packaged box of Swiss rolls materialized on the floor. Sigh. The rich scent of milk and the sweet aroma of cake instantly drifted into the opposite dormitory. This scent, like two heavy hammers, pounded relentlessly against Tang Shichin and Li Ying's psychological. Li Ying could no longer hold back. Her eyes flickered intensely as she kept licking her dry lips, swallowing audibly with a gulp-gulp. Meanwhile, Tang Shichin was in the throes of an inner battle. Who was she? She was the campus belle of Hanhai Art Academy, a princess surrounded by countless admirers. To bow and beg before a lowly security guard she had once despised and looked down upon. That was worse than death. But the burning hunger in her stomach and the relentless banging on the door outside like a death knell mercilessly eroded her meager pride. Bang, bang, bang. Just then something even more terrifying happened. The intelligent zombie at the end of the hallway seemed to sense the presence of living humans. Under its command, several ordinary zombies abandoned the iron door and crazily rammed Tang Shichin's dormitory door. The intelligent zombie at the end of the hallway seemed to sense the presence of living humans. Under its command, several ordinary, at most a dozen more hits, and the door would be completely smashed open. The shadow of death instantly enveloped them. Li Ying's psychological defenses crumbled completely in that moment. No longer caring about face or dignity, she pushed past the still hesitant Tang Shichin and rushed madly to Lin Yang. Plopped. With a sound, she actually knelt down directly. "Brother Lin Yang, I was wrong. I'm truly wrong. Please save me." Li Ying clung to Lin Yang's leg, her voice choked with sobs as she begged hysterically, "They'll do whatever you say. They'll do anything. Please give me a bite to eat. Please save me." Tang Shichin stared blankly at the crumbling door, then at her best friend kneeling before Lin Yang with no shred of dignity. Her face was as pale as paper, her small fists clenched so tightly that her sharp nails had deeply embedded into the tender flesh of her palms, yet she felt no pain. Li Ying knelt on the ground, her body trembling slightly from fear and hunger. On that once calculating face, only the most primal will to survive remained. But Lin Yang didn't even glance down at her. His gaze, sharp as a blade, pierced straight toward the pale-faced woman still standing at the doorway. "And you, school beauty." Lin Yang's voice was low but dripping with mockery and scorn. Each word landed like a slap, striking Tang Shichin's face. "Still thinking bragging." Tang Shichin's body stiffened, her lips trembling, yet she couldn't utter a single bragging. Conjuring a steaming hot pot out of thin air was bragging. Summoning a blazing flame in the palm was bragging. If this was bragging, then what was reality? Reality was the hair-raising thuds outside the door, the lingering stench of blood in the air, and the death that could descend at any moment. Her looks, which she prided herself on, and her status surrounded by admirers, had become a colossal joke. Just then, Roar. At the end of the corridor, a roar distinct from the other zombies, one filled with intelligence and malice, sounded again. Then a spine-chilling change occurred. Bang, bang. The pounding on their dormitory door actually stopped. But the next second from the wall outside the corridor came a teeth-grinding scrape of climbing. Brother Lin Yang, they're climbing the wall. Li Yuqing, who had been monitoring the outside, noticed the anomaly first. Her face drained of color as she cried out in alarm. They're coming up from the balcony. That intelligent zombie had actually changed its strategy. Knowing the wooden door wouldn't break easily, it commanded its minions to breach through the weak point of the balcony. Hearing this, Tang Shiqin and Li Ying instinctively turned to look at the balcony. Don't be afraid. Lin Yang's voice remained calm, and he even took a moment to give Li Yuqing a reassuring smile. He strolled leisurely to the balcony, as if taking a post-meal walk. Sure enough, a male zombie in a dormitory attendant uniform, moving on all fours like an ugly gecko, had already climbed to the 5th floor. It extended a rotting hand, trying to grab the railing of the 6th floor balcony. Tang Shiqin's heart leaped into her throat. Yet Lin Yang remained unflustered, not even a trace of tension on his face. He casually raised his right hand palm, facing the zombie struggling to climb. Whoosh! A fireball the size of a human head materialized, carrying a wave of scorching heat, and shot forth with precision like a small cannonball. Boom! The fireball struck the zombie square in the chest. Flames of orangerd instantly engulfed it. The zombie let out a meaningless roar, blasted off the wall by the immense force, and crashed down as a fiery ball onto the concrete ground below. The entire process was swift and clean, exuding a brutal elegance. This scene, juxtaposed with the trembling Tang Shiqin and the kneeling Li Ying, formed a stark and ironic contrast. Tang Shiqin completely broke down. Following Lin Yang's gaze to the balcony outside, she saw more. Not just one. A full 4 or 5 zombies were frantically climbing up along the walls, pipes, and air conditioning units. Their bloodshot eyes, devoid of any emotion, stared fixedly at the living people on the balcony, with foul drool dripping from their mouths. The balcony, which she had thought was the last safe haven, was about to fall. Tang Shiqin could no longer hold on. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed to the ground. The fear of death, like icy seawater, surged from all directions, instantly drowning her completely. In her mind, images of her parents' kind faces flashed uncontrollably, along with memories of her once glamorous life pursued by countless people. Designer handbags, lavish banquets, devoted admirers. All the things that were once within easy reach now seemed so distant and unreal. She didn't want to die. She was only 19 and her life had just begun. Regret. Endless regret engulfed her. She regretted her arrogance, her stupidity, and her ridiculous mockery of Lin Yang. If only she had believed him from the start like Li Yuqing and followed him, would she now be eating hotpot peacefully under his protection? But there was no if. She had personally pushed away her best chance of survival. Roar! Just as Tang Shiqin's mind was in turmoil, a sudden change occurred. A mutant zombie, far faster than the others, suddenly launched itself from the 5th floor balcony. With a powerful leap, its entire body shot upward like a cannonball. Whooshed! Half of its rotting body grabbed onto the 6th floor balcony railing, just inches from the collapsed Tang Shiqin. That half-decayed face, those bloodthirsty pupils, were clearly reflected in Tang Shiqin's eyes. A strong stench of rot hit her, and a few drops of thick drool nearly dripped onto her face. Tang Shiqin let out a piercing scream. At the critical moment, a black shadow flashed. Lin Yang delivered a powerful roundhouse kick, slamming into the mutant zombie's head with tremendous force, sending it flying off the railing. Midair, Lin Yang flipped his wrist, and the machete appeared in his hand, its blade instantly coated with a thin layer of flame. He swung it down. Slash! The zombie's head, severed by the flame-wreathed blade, rolled down like a ball. Ding! Successfully hunted. A mutant zombie. Speed type ability points 10. Lin Yang flicked the black blood off his blade, slowly turned around, and looked down at Tang Shiqin sprawled on the ground. His eyes were icy, devoid of any warmth. This is your last chance. The voice was soft, but it struck Tang Shiqin's heart like a heavy hammer, shattering her last shred of hope. Survive. This thought burned more intensely than ever. Tang Shiqin trembled violently, looking at the man before her. Not long ago, he was nothing but a despicable security guard she could mock and order around at will. Now he had become her sole and final lifeline. A colossal sense of humiliation and a fierce will to survive waged a frantic war within her heart. In the end, the instinct to live overwhelmed everything else. She clenched her teeth, her nails digging deep into her palms, blood seeping out unnoticed. Tears mingled with shame, terror, and resentment burst forth like a broken dam. I beg you. She forced those 3 words out from the depths of her throat, using every ounce of her strength. Each word felt like it was tearing her soul apart. Yet Lin Yang merely shook his head. The curve of his lips carried a hint of cruel satisfaction. My rule, he said, is to kneel and beg me. Boom. It was as if a thunderclap exploded in Tang Shikin's mind, leaving her utterly stunned. Kneel. He wanted her to kneel and beg him. For her, the favored daughter of heaven, the campus belle of Hanhai Art Academy, to grovel before a despicable security guard. This was more unbearable than death itself. An unprecedented surge of humiliation and rage instantly shattered her composure. The fear and pleading in her eyes at this moment actually faded, replaced by a kind of almost maddening resolve. Tang Shiqin abruptly rose from the ground. But she did not kneel. She made a move that no one expected. She turned around, not rushing toward Lin Yang, but charging like a madwoman toward the dormitory door, which was being battered and shaken by the zombies outside. She reached out, actually trying to pull the bolt. Was she going to take everyone down with her? Everyone thought Tang Shiqin had lost her mind. Li Ying screamed in terror, Li Yuqing covered her mouth, and even Lin Yang instinctively frowned, ready to step in and stop her at any moment. Had she been pushed to the brink, intending to drag everyone to death? Yet what happened next made everyone's eyes widen in disbelief. Tang Shiqin rushed to the rickety wooden door, but did not pull the bolt. Bang! A harsh screech of metal scraping echoed. Using all her strength, she shoved a heavy iron cabinet normally used for storing luggage firmly against the door, completely blocking it. After doing this, she seemed to have drained her last ounce of energy, her body swaying. Then, under the shocked gaze of everyone, she slowly turned around to face Lin Yang. That face, once marked with arrogance and disdain, was now streaked with tears and despair. Thud! A dull sound echoed. That face, once marked with arrogance and disdain, was now streaked with tears and despair. Thud! A dull sound echoed. A cold floor. This kneeling seemed to drain all her spirit and shattered the last shred of her pitiable and ridiculous. She lifted her head, eyes brimming with tears, as she looked at Lin Yang, her voice trembling with sobs, every word filled with endless remorse and supplication. I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Please, save us. Silence. The only sounds left in the dormitory were Tang Shikin's stifled weeping and the relentless roaring and banging of zombies against the door outside. Even Li Ying, kneeling on the ground, was stunned. She never imagined that her best friend, who was even more proud and image-conscious than herself, would make such a desperate move. If even she had knelt, what right did she have to remain standing? A cold, mocking smile slowly curled at the corner of Lin Yang's mouth. This was exactly the effect he wanted. In the apocalypse, the strong reign supreme. So-called dignity and pride are utterly worthless in the face of absolute power and the threat of death. He intended to use the most direct and brutal method to shatter the vanity of these greenhouse flowers, making them understand who their sole master was. That's more like it. Lin Yang uttered those 4 words flatly, his voice low, yet striking like a decree, sealing their fate. He stepped forward, bypassing Li Ying, who had been kneeling longer, and walked directly up to Tang Shiqin. Reaching out, he gently lifted her tear-streaked face. There's a road to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, yet you barge right in. The moment his hand touched the 2 women, a series of long-awaited system prompt sounds exploded wildly in his mind. Ding. Detected host successfully conquered beauty with attractiveness score 89. Tang Shiqin. Congratulations, host. Received epic tier ability, Polar Frost Domain. Polar Frost Domain, an epic tier control type ability that can instantly create extreme low temperatures, freezing all things. As the ability level increases, it can create a frozen domain for large-scale control and destruction. Ding. Detected host successfully conquered beauty with attractiveness score 85. Li Ying. Congratulations, host. Received epic tier ability, Spiritual Charm. Spiritual Charm, an epic tier mental type ability that allows spiritual suggestion, hypnosis, and even manipulation of targets with lower intelligence than the user. Its effect is weaker on ability users. At higher levels, it can evolve into mind reading, allowing one to probe others' thoughts. Holy crap. Epic tier abilities. 2 of them. Lin Yang's heart surged with ecstasy. Indeed, the effort had paid off. All the petty grievances he had suffered before vanished in an instant the moment he obtained these 2 powerful abilities. Flame Control for offense, Polar Frost Domain for control, and Spiritual Charm for support. Attack, control, and support. 3 systems, all complete. Bang, bang, bang. The wooden door blocked by the iron cabinet still groaned under the frenzied assault of the zombies, the entire cabinet shaking violently. Brother Lin Yang. The newly helped up Tang Shiqin and Li Ying, still trembling with lingering fear, instinctively leaned toward Lin Yang, their bodies shaking uncontrollably. Don't be afraid, I'm here. A confident smile spread across Lin Yang's face. He wanted these women to see just how right their choice was. His gaze sharpened as he fixed on the violently shaking dormitory door. With a thought, he slowly raised his left hand. A visible bone-chilling cold abruptly burst forth from his palm. The temperature in the air plummeted as if the world had instantly transitioned from midsummer to deep winter. Tang Shiqin, Li Ying, and Li Yuqing all shivered simultaneously. They watched in horror as the white mist of cold, as if alive, instantly enveloped the entire wooden door and its frame. Crack, crack, crack. The crisp sound of freezing rang out without end. In just 1 second, the once rickety wooden door along with the iron cabinet behind it was completely sealed by a thick layer of solid ice, transforming into a massive crystalline ice sculpture. The violent pounding from outside abruptly ceased. Dead silence. It was as if the world had pressed the pause button at this very moment. This is... Tang Shiqin and Li Ying's beautiful eyes widened, their red lips slightly parted, utterly speechless with shock. Their worldview was completely shattered at this moment. If the fire-controlling technique before had only stunned them, then this miraculous ability to conjure ice out of thin air and instantly freeze everything had completely surpassed the bounds of their cognition. This was the power of a god. It's not over yet. Lin Yang smiled calmly, his gaze shifting toward the balcony. There a few zombies were still climbing upward, oblivious to their doom. He locked his eyes on the fastest mutated zombie among them and activated another ability he had just acquired. Spiritual Charm. An invisible wave of spiritual energy instantly enveloped that zombie. The once ferocious mutated zombie, which had been about to leap up from the 5th-floor balcony, abruptly halted its movement. A flicker of eerie confusion passed through its blood-red eyes. The next second, roar. It suddenly let out a furious roar, spun around, and instead of climbing upward, it crazily slashed its sharp claws at another ordinary zombie crawling beside it. Uffed. Claws sank into flesh, black blood splattered. The two zombies began a frenzied battle against each other on the wall. This sight left the three women utterly dumbfounded, especially Li Ying, whose beautiful eyes suddenly sparkled with an extraordinary light. She instantly realized the terrifying potential of this ability. Mind control. This was undoubtedly the most fearsome and practical power in the apocalypse. Killing unseen, manipulating enemies, gathering intelligence. Its value was immeasurable. The tide had completely turned in this moment. Just a minute ago, they were struggling on the brink of death, despairing in hopelessness. Now Lin Yang wielded 3 abilities, fire, ice, and spirit, leading 3 stunningly beautiful women, and the balance of power had shifted instantly. The way Tang Shiqin and Li Ying looked at Lin Yang had completely changed. Fear and despair vanished without a trace, replaced by the relief of survival, heartfelt admiration, and an absolute reliance that entrusted their entire being to him. This man was their sole god in the apocalypse. Basic bond activated. Elemental Resonance LV1. When the 3 heroines are near the host's fire, ice, and spiritual abilities receive a faint 5 enhancement. Lin Yang nodded in satisfaction. The foundation of a team had already taken shape. He looked toward the end of the corridor beyond the heavy iron door leading to the 5th floor, where the roars of the intelligent dormitory zombie king still echoed intermittently, filled with venom and resentment. Hiding here is not my style. A cold glint of murder flashed in Lin Yang's eyes as he sneered. They'll make that blind creature understand who rules this building from now on. He would take the initiative. Yuqing, Shiqin, Li Ying. Lin Yang called out their names. Here. The 3 women replied in unison, their voices tinged with nervous excitement. To survive, it's not enough for me to protect you alone. You must learn to fight. As he spoke, Lin Yang quickly made exchanges in the system shop. Spending several hundred survival points, 3 sets of simple tight protective suits made of special leather and 3 sharp short blades materialized on the floor. Put them on. Without a moment's hesitation, the 3 women took the gear and changed in the inner room. Soon 3 stunning female warriors, each with a unique allure and fiery figures, stood before Lin Yang. My plan is simple. Lin Yang looked at his handiwork with satisfaction as he assigned tasks. He'll lead the attack. Yuqing, you've awakened fire control, so you'll provide long-range fire suppression. Shiqin, your ability is ice. Control the field and freeze their movements. Li Ying, your spiritual charm will disrupt them and make them turn on each other. The prototype of the ultimate apocalypse squad was officially born in this moment. Understood. The 3 women answered in unison, their eyes blazing with battle spirit. Lin Yang walked to the ice-sealed door, a murderous smile spreading across his face. The next second, he lifted his right foot and kicked with all his might. Boom! Ice shards flew everywhere. The door, frozen solid and reinforced by an iron cabinet behind it, was shattered into pieces by his single kick. Lin Yang strode out of the dormitory, wielding a machete blazing with fierce flames, followed by 3 extraordinary beauties, each possessing unique abilities. He walked step by step toward the heavy iron door at the end of the corridor. As if sensing this blatant provocation and murderous intent, the zombie king behind the iron door let out a shriek more piercing and frenzied than any before. Roar! The sharp, grating roar seemed to pierce eardrums filled with endless venom and madness. Behind the iron door, the violent aura nearly solidified into a tangible force. Tang Shiqin, Li Ying, and Li Yuqing's faces turned deathly pale. The battle spirit that had just risen began to waver again in the face of this terrifying roar. This was no ordinary zombie. What's there to fear? Lin Yang's voice was cold and steady like a divine pillar stabilizing the three women's faltering hearts. With me here the sky won't fall. Before the words faded, boom, an earth-shattering sound exploded. The heavy steel door strong enough to withstand the frenzied charges of over a dozen ordinary zombies bulged inward with a terrifying contour from the middle. The walls around the doorframe instantly cracked with countless spiderweb-like fissures. Clang! The lock snapped. The next second the entire iron door flew backward into the corridor as if struck by a cannon. Through the swirling dust a figure that made one's scalp tingle slowly stepped out. It was a zombie in the uniform of a dormitory matron, but its body had swollen far beyond its living-sized muscles, bulging skin, and eerie cyan gray. Its eyes were no longer the blood red of ordinary zombies, but glowed with a cunning light of intelligence. This was the dormitory zombie king. Behind it, a dense horde of nearly 30 zombies surged up from the 5th floor, clogging the entire stairwell. Their low roars merged into a wave of death, pressing madly toward the four. Up! Li Yang screamed in terror, her legs giving way. Tang Shiken's heart pounded wildly, her hands gripping the short blades slick with cold sweat. This was terrifying. Could they really win? Ice! Just as the zombie tide was about to crash over them, Lin Yang's concise command rang out. Tang Shiken shuddered. Though fear consumed her, her obedience to Lin Yang's orders had become instinct. Gritting her teeth, she unleashed the cold energy within her without reservation. Huh! A sharp cry rang out. A surge of bone-chilling cold erupted from her palm, and before her a crystalline ice wall, over 2 meters tall and half a meter thick, rose from the ground. Boom! 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 The leading zombies, unable to break in time, slammed violently into the ice wall, producing a series of dull thuds. The ice wall trembled violently, but held against the first wave. Well done, Lin Yang praised. Coming brother Lin Yang. Li Yuqing, already prepared, waved her hands, and fist-sized fireballs soared over the ice wall like small artillery shells, landing precisely among the zombie horde behind. Boom, boom, boom. The fireballs exploded instantly, igniting several zombies. They howled meaninglessly, crashing into their companions and causing chaos. Their first collaboration was remarkably effective. A hint of joy flickered across Tang Shiken and Li Ying's faces. But the dormitory king zombie remained entirely unfazed by the turmoil. It merely watched coldly, its gleaming eyes even revealing a hint of human-like disdain. Suddenly, the dormitory king zombie opened its fanged maw and let out a piercing, high-frequency shriek. The sound, like an invisible steel needle, stabbed into everyone's minds. NGH. The first to be affected was Li Ying, who had been attempting mental interference on the king. Her head felt as if struck by a heavy hammer, her vision darkened, and she let out a stifled groan. Her face turned deathly pale as she staggered backward. Her spiritual charm had been shattered by the sonic roar. This king zombie could resist mental attacks. Ying! Tang Shiken cried out quickly, supporting her. Before they could react, the dormitory king zombie made a new move. It suddenly raised its thick right leg and stomped hard on the ground. Thud! The entire floor shook violently. An invisible shockwave radiated outward from its foot. Crack! The seemingly indestructible ice wall Tang Shiken had just erected shattered like glass before the shockwave. In an instant, the ice wall was covered in cracks, then exploded into a shower of crystals. The defense was broken. The dormitory king's ability was shockwave. Roar! The king, without pausing, moved with astonishing speed, becoming a blur of cyan gray as it lunged straight for Li Ying, the most vulnerable and agonized member of the team. It knew to target the support first. You dare! Lin Yang's pupils contracted, and a violent rage surged from within him. How dare you touch my woman? Boom! Orange-red flames erupted instantly, engulfing Lin Yang. He transformed into a blazing projectile, moving with incredible speed to intercept, arriving just in time to shield Li Ying. Bang! His flame-wreathed fist clashed heavily with the king's keratin-covered claws. The shockwave blasted outward, whipping the three women's hair wildly. Lin Yang grunted, feeling a tremendous force that numbed his arm, forcing him back 3 steps to regain it. The dormitory king was also knocked back a step, its claws emitting a scorched smell. A draw. Seeing this, Tang Shiken, slumped in Li Ying's arms, was deeply moved. Lin Yang had used his own body to face that terrifying monster to protect Li Ying. In that moment, her foolish notions of pride, status, and vanity shattered. In the apocalypse, only the strong who protect their own deserve everything. She would no longer be the screaming, helpless burden. Fear and weakness faded from Tang Shiken's face, replaced by an unprecedented cold determination. No one touches my man or my sisters, she shouted, handing Li Ying to Li Yuqing and stepping forward. Arctic ice domain. Full power. Whoosh! A terrifying cold current many times stronger than before swept through the corridor from Tang Shiken. Crack, crack, crackle. Moisture in the air instantly froze into frost. The floor, walls, ceiling, everything was covered in thick ice. The surging ordinary zombies seemed to wade through mud, slipping and slowing drastically, their speed reduced by over 70%. Mass area control. She was no longer that Tsundere school beauty. In this moment, she was the queen of ice and snow. Now, Lin Yang seized this golden opportunity and roared. Out. Li Yang, enduring her splitting headache, unleashed spiritual charm with all her might. Though unable to control the king, the interference caused a momentary pause in its movements. In a duel of masters, victory hinges on a split second. Die. Li Yuqing's fireball and Tang Shiken's ice spear were released simultaneously, striking the king from left and right. Boom. Ice and fire clashed. The king let out a pained roar, staggering from the blast. Opportunity. Lin Yang activated his system-enhanced elite soldier-level footwork, moving like a phantom to close in. His machete was now ablaze with roaring flames. He raised it. He brought it down. Slice. A line of fire from top to bottom with unmatched force instantly cut through the dormitory king. The once arrogant, intelligent zombie froze. The next second, its body split cleanly down the middle, bisected with black blood and entrails spilling. Ding. Successfully killed an intelligent zombie. Ability points 50. Team bond experience 100. Ding. Host team achieves first perfect cooperative kill of a boss. Bonus survival points 1000. Lin Yang flicked the black blood off his blade and stood upright. Behind him lay the corpses of zombies and 3 stunning women standing shoulder to shoulder, still shaken, but with faces full of excitement and adoration. Tang Shiken in particular had undergone a radical transformation through the baptism of blood and fire. Her tsundere nature was gone, replaced by an icy, untouchable beauty and strength. The Ice Queen was born in that moment. Lin Yang's gaze fell upon the split corpse of the dormitory king. Amidst the pool of filthy blood, a crystal core the size of a fist, translucent and pulsating faintly like a beating heart, while emitting a soft glow, was particularly striking. He walked over and picked up the crystal core. The moment his fingers brushed against it, the system's chime echoed once more. Ding. Special energy crystal core detected. Can be used to enhance any one of the host's abilities or to unlock a new system function. Please choose host. The battle was over. That once arrogant dormitory warden zombie king, along with the nearly 30 zombies it led, had all been reduced to cold corpses lying haphazardly across the entire corridor. A thick stench of blood and rotting flesh mingled, turning the stomach. Huff, huff. As the adrenaline faded, a crushing wave of exhaustion surged over him. Tang Shiken, Li Yang, and Li Yuqing could no longer hold on. Their faces were deathly pale, drenched in sweat. They slumped against the wall and collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. Tang Shiken in particular had nearly depleted all her supernatural energy. Now she felt dizzy and lightheaded without even the strength to stand. Yet their eyes burned with unprecedented brightness. They had survived, and with their own strength, by personally participating in the battle, they had won. In stark contrast to the 3 women's utter exhaustion, Lin Yang, the main force, remained calm and composed, as if the brutal slaughter had merely been a warm-up exercise. He walked over to the zombie king's cleaved corpse, used his blade to push aside the filthy flesh, picked up the faintly glowing special energy crystal core, and casually wiped it on his clothes. Take a rest, you 3. They'll clean up the battlefield. Lin Yang's voice was calm, yet firm, possessing an unquestionable magic that instantly soothed the lingering terror in the 3 women's hearts. Watching Lin Yang methodically dispose of the zombie bodies and gather usable supplies, his unflappable leadership filled the 3 women's hearts with a profound sense of security once more. This was the man they had chosen. However, what happened next shattered their expectations once again. After tossing all the zombie corpses down the stairs, Lin Yang stood in the middle of the corridor and closed his eyes. System clean and disinfect all areas on the 6th floor. Ding. Environmental purification program in progress. Consuming 300 survival points. Purification complete. An invisible wave swept through the corridor. The thick smell of blood and stench vanished into thin air within seconds. The bloodstains on the floor seemed to evaporate, leaving everything spotless. The 3 women were dumbfounded. What kind of divine trick was this? Before they could recover from their shock, Lin Yang had already walked into Li Yuqing's dormitory. This dormitory will be our command center and rest area from now on. As his words fell, light flickered repeatedly from his palm. In the room that originally held 4 iron bunk beds, the old worn-out furniture vanished instantly. In their place appeared a massive circular leather sofa that could seat 7 or 8 people, and a king-sized bed covered in velvet quilts looking incredibly soft. Then, with a soft hum, a portable diesel generator materialized and began operating steadily. On the wall, a 100-inch ultra-thin LCD TV was mounted, complete with a top-tier surround sound system. This is. Li Yuqing rubbed her eyes, almost believing she was hallucinating. Tang Shiqin and Li Ying followed her in. When they saw the luxurious setup comparable to a five-star hotel presidential suite, they were completely stunned. The apocalypse. This was an apocalypse where order had collapsed and everyone lived worse than dogs. While others were fighting tooth and nail for a moldy piece of bread or a bottle of muddy water, their man had conjured an entire luxurious safe house out of thin air. This was no longer just power, it was a miracle. Don't just stand there. The celebration feast is about to begin. Lin Yang snapped his fingers and light flickered again on the coffee table in front of the sofa. Sizzling top-grade M9 Wagyu marbled steaks emitted an enticing aroma. A bottle of 1982 Lafite Rothschild was paired with four crystal-clear goblets. Fresh dewy strawberries and cherries along with an exquisitely packaged Black Forest cake. Gulp. The three women's stomachs betrayed them with a rumble. They looked at everything before them, then at the man who acted as if he had done something utterly trivial, and their eyes reddened instantly. Following him meant more than just surviving. It was like living in paradise. At that moment, the last shreds of doubt and unease in their hearts vanished, completely replaced by absolute loyalty and trust. At the lavish celebration feast, the three women ate ravenously, shedding all pretense of ladylike decorum. After a hearty meal, the atmosphere grew warm and harmonious. Lin Yang leaned back on the soft sofa, swirled the wine in his glass, and looked at the three utterly content beauties. Finally, he spoke up and revealed his plan. This 6 female dormitory building is our territory from today onward. His voice was low yet filled with an unquestionable authority. My short-term goal is to establish an absolutely safe survivor base here. We need to clear all the zombies in the building, reinforce every door and window, set up a supply warehouse and training room, and turn it into a true apocalyptic fortress. Apocalyptic fortress. Those two words ignited a flame called hope in the three women's eyes. To make our relationship clearer to you, there are some things I should tell you. As Lin Yang spoke, he concentrated his thoughts. On a virtual interface only he could see, he selectively shared the beauty gallery section. A pale blue light screen materialized before the three women. On it, their portraits were displayed prominently, each radiating a faint glow. What is this? Tang Shiqin asked curiously. You can think of it as a team contract, Lin Yang explained in a way they could understand. We are a unit. Each of you awakening and growing stronger will bring benefits to our entire team. For instance, in the battle just now, it was because of the bond between us that my abilities were amplified. He skillfully omitted the core concepts of conquest and rewards, emphasizing only partners and but these words sent shockwaves through the three women's hearts, especially Tang Shiqin and Li Ying, who had believed they were merely Lin Yang's dependents, birds in a cage trading their dignity for shelter. Yet now Lin Yang was telling them they were partners, an indispensable part of the team. Their strength was crucial to the team. This feeling of being needed and recognized was far more effective at winning hearts than a steak dinner with red wine. Even Tang Shiqin's icy, beautiful face couldn't help but flush with a touching rosy hue. All right, now we have more important things to do. Lin Yang opened his palm, revealing the special energy crystal core extracted from the corpse king's body, pulsating like a heart lying quietly in his hand. The moment he took out the crystal core, the system's prompt echoed in his mind. Ding. Special energy crystal core detected. Please choose how to use it. Option A, enhance flame control. There is a 5% chance it will mutate and evolve into a rare grade ability. Option B, consume the crystal core to unlock the base construction module, personal strength, or the team's future. A flicker of profound thought passed through Lin Yang's eyes. The mutation of flame control was certainly tempting, but he knew well that one person's power was ultimately limited. To become an order maker in the apocalypse, being strong in combat alone was far from enough. A base that could be continuously upgraded and developed, as impregnable as a fortress, was the true path to supremacy. I choose B. Without a moment's hesitation, Lin Yang made his decision inwardly. Ding. Selection successful. Consuming special energy crystal core. Congratulations, host. Base construction module has been unlocked. As the words fell, the virtual light screen before Lin Yang transformed instantly. A clear three-dimensional architectural model appeared before his eyes. It was precisely their current building, female dormitory building No. 6 of Hanhai Academy. Base name unnamed. Base level 1 Hanhai Academy female dormitory building No. 6. Base core none. Current energy 01000. Available construction upgrade projects 1. Defense fortifications LV1. Required materials steel plates X 500, cement X 1000, survival points X 2002. Supply warehouse LV1. Required materials wood X 200, iron nails X 500, survival points X 1003. Ability Training Room LV1, Required Materials Special Alloy X100 Energy Conduits X50 Survival Points X5000 requires energy source support for. Gene Research Lab LV1, a locked requires recruiting relevant personnel. 5. Energy source not installed. An interface resembling a strategy management game brimming with a sense of technology and future possibilities. Lin Yang shared the base module interface with the three women. When they saw the sci-fi construction options on the screen, they were utterly astounded. They gazed at the list of upgradable projects, their eyes filled with boundless hope and anticipation for the future. This was no longer mere survival. It was the rebuilding of civilization in the apocalypse. However, just as everyone was excitedly planning their bright future, Lin Yang pointed to the most critical and glaring item on the interface. Energy source not installed. Current energy 0. All advanced functions are unavailable. The women's excitement instantly cooled. Indeed, without energy, everything was just empty talk. Just then, a new system prompt slowly appeared at the very bottom of the light screen. System prompt: please find and install an energy core to activate the base. Recommended search locations: South Campus Physics Laboratory, Small Nuclear Reactor, Campus Center, Main Building, Basement, Central Power Distribution Room, High Energy Battery Pack. The three women's gazes all turned sharply to Lin Yang. They understood clearly that to truly launch this grand plan, they had to leave this temporarily safe dormitory and venture into the more dangerous areas outside, overrun by zombies. A night of deep sleep. This was the most peaceful rest the three women had enjoyed since the apocalypse. Soft beds, a safe room, and a man like a god or demon guarding outside allowed them to completely let go of all their wariness and fear. The next morning, as sunlight streamed through the gaps in the window, the three women slowly woke up. In the living room, Lin Yang had already prepared a hearty breakfast: steaming hot milk with cereal, golden crispy toast, and a platter of cut fruit. Eat your fill, and then we set off. Lin Yang handed them a sharp short blade and a set of tight protective suits. Today's target is the physics laboratory on the south side of the campus to find the energy core. We have to go that far? Li Yuqing asked nervously. The entire Hanhai Academy covered thousands of acres from their dormitory to the southside physics lab, meant crossing nearly half the campus, and who knew how many zombies they would encounter along the way. Scared, Lin Yang glanced at her. No. Li Yuqing immediately straightened up, her gaze resolute. Beside them, Tang Shiqin and Li Ying silently put on their gear. Though a trace of nervousness remained on their faces, there was more anticipation. They were no longer the delicate flowers from yesterday who could only scream. Before we go, let's stop by the cafeteria. Lin Yang made the decision. There should still be some canned goods and packaged food there. We need to stock up more supplies. The four of them, fully armed, left the dormitory building that Lin Yang had named Sanctuary 1. Lin Yang led the way, wielding a flaming machete like a vanguard. Tang Shiqin and Li Yuqing flanked him, ready to release ice spikes and fireballs at a moment's notice. Li Ying brought up the rear, her mental energy highly focused, vigilant against any potential threats around them. The campus after the apocalypse was no longer the peaceful place it once was. Everywhere were abandoned vehicles, scattered books, and dried bloodstains. A lingering stench of decay permeated the air. Occasionally, stray zombies were attracted by their presence, charging forward with roars, but without exception, they were pierced through the skull by precise fireballs and ice spikes before getting within 10 meters, falling dead. Ding. Killed, ordinary zombie. Ability point 1 ding. Killed, ordinary zombie. Ability point 1. Along the way, the system's prompts sounded intermittently. Though the ability points were few, the women's combat experience and teamwork improved rapidly. The cafeteria was not far from the dormitory, only a few hundred meters away. When they cautiously pushed open the heavy glass door, the scene inside stunned them. The cafeteria was not overrun with zombies as they had expected. Instead, 7 or 8 survivors were gathered together. They were all ragged, gaunt, and their eyes held only numbness and despair. Leading them was a tall, burly athlete wearing a basketball jersey. Lin Yang recognized him at once. Wang Meng from the physical education department, a simple-minded, brawny guy. Before the apocalypse, he had aggressively pursued Tang Shiqin and had been warned by Lin Yang, then a security guard, for harassing her, creating a grudge between them. At that moment, Wang Meng and his lackeys were huddled around a can they had just pried open, using their grimy fingers to share the already spoiled luncheon meat inside. When Lin Yang walked in with the 3 women, everyone in the cafeteria turned their gazes toward them. As they recognized the newcomers, they were all stunned. Wang Meng in particular, his eyes instantly turned red. What was he seeing? 3 women. 3 stunningly beautiful women with fiery figures and exquisite faces. Tang Shiqin's icy elegance, Li Ying's seductive charm, and Li Yuqing's pure innocence. Any one of them alone would drive any man in the apocalypse to madness. What drove him to the brink of insanity with jealousy was that these 3 women were not only not emaciated, but were full of vitality, with rosy complexions clad in snug new protective suits that accentuated their every curve. And when he looked at the man beside them, wasn't it Lin Yang, that despicable security guard he had always looked down upon? Why? Why should he, a mere security guard, be blessed with such exquisite women and the means to keep them so well fed? Intense jealousy instantly overwhelmed Wang Ming's already scant rationality. Lin Yang. Wang Ming tossed aside his canned food, relying on his numerical advantage, and swaggered over with his lackeys. His greedy gaze roamed lasciviously over the three women, a gulp audible in his throat as he sneered. You lousy security guard, you sure are lucky. There's a road to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, yet you barge right in. Now I'll give you two choices. Wang Ming pointed a finger, arrogantly jabbing it at Lin Yang's nose. First, hand over these three women and all your food, and I might consider keeping you as my dog. Second, I'll break your limbs right now and throw you out to feed the zombies. Your women and food will be mine anyway. His lackeys burst into raucous laughter, their eyes fixed on the three women with lecherous greed. Tang Shiqin and Li Yuqing's faces turned icy cold as they tightened their grip on their short blades. Lin Yang didn't even bother to lift an eyelid. He couldn't be bothered to waste words on such fools. He merely gave Li Ying a look. Li Ying understood instantly. Spiritual charm. An invisible wave of mental energy instantly enveloped one of Wang Ming's lackeys, who was wielding a steel pipe. The lackey's eyes went blank, his sneer frozen on his face. The next second, he suddenly swung the steel pipe with all his might, without any warning, smashing it viciously against the back of Wang Ming's head. Thud. A dull sound. Ow. Wang Ming never dreamed that his own underling would suddenly turn on him. He let out a blood-curdling scream, blood gushing from the back of his head, stumbling forward and crashing face first to the ground. Chaos erupted instantly. Ma-san, have you lost your damn mind? The others were all stunned, unable to process what had just happened. But Lin Yang gave them no chance to react. Moved. The cold command rang out. Whoosh. Without hesitation, Li Yuqing hurled a blazing fireball, striking another lackey who was about to charge, instantly engulfing him in flames. Shiqin. Tang Shiqin, already poised, let out a sharp cry as several sharp ice spikes materialized out of thin air, like arrows from a bow, piercing the thighs of two other lackeys. Screams and wails filled the entire cafeteria. In just 3 seconds, Wang Ming's so-called team of 7 or 8 men was utterly shattered. The remaining survivors, terrified out of their wits, scrambled and crawled to the corner, staring in horror at the scene before them as if a demon had descended. Lin Yang slowly walked over to Wang Ming, who was still writhing on the ground, and lifted his foot, pressing it heavily onto his face, grinding his jealousy-distorted visage into the filthy floor. MMPH. MMPH. Wang Ming struggled desperately, but to no avail. Lin Yang ignored him, instead turning his head and speaking in an icy, piercing voice to the three women behind him, who were also shaken by the bloody spectacle. Watch closely. This is the first lesson of the apocalypse. Here there is no law, no morality, only the survival of the fittest. Mercy to your enemies is cruelty to yourself. Anyone who dares to bare their fangs at us will meet only one fate. Crack. A crisp sound of bone breaking rang out. Lin Yang exerted force under his foot, directly snapping one of Wang Ming's legs. Ah! Wang Ming let out a pig-like squeal of agony, the excruciating pain nearly causing him to faint. Lin Yang didn't kill him. Allowing him to eke out a miserable existence as a cripple in this zombie-infested world was a far crueler punishment than a quick death. This bloody and vivid lesson was deeply etched into the hearts of the three women. Their bodies trembled slightly, but their eyes grew resolute. They finally understood completely. Lin Yang's coldness and decisive ruthlessness were precisely for their protection, the only rule for survival in this cannibalistic world. Lin Yang lifted his foot and swept his gaze over the trembling survivors in the corner. Now it's your turn. His voice was devoid of any emotion. If you want to survive by following me, prove your worth. I don't keep freeloaders. They exchanged glances. A bespectacled girl who looked gentle and refined mustered her courage and stepped forward, her voice quivering. I majored in electrical engineering. I understand circuits and can repair generators. Another girl in a nurse's uniform whispered, I am a nursing major. I can dress wounds and perform basic first aid. Lin Yang nodded with satisfaction. You too can stay. Then his eyes fell on the remaining men who were trembling, and he coldly uttered 2 words, get lost. Those men, as if granted amnesty, scrambled out of the cafeteria. Ding. Successfully recruited professional talent X2. New options unlocked for base construction module. Base medical room LV1 locked, requires nursing professional X1. Power system maintenance station locked, requires electrical professional X1. Just then the girl who knew circuits suddenly remembered something and said to Lin Yang, Senior, actually, we don't have to go to the dangerous physics lab. I used to work part-time at the student union. I know that in the basement of the central administration building on campus, there's a backup set of high-energy diesel generators and battery packs for emergency power supply to the entire building. This news made Lin Yang's eyes light up. Going to the administration building was far safer and more reliable than the physics lab, which was filled with various hazardous chemicals and precision instruments. Excellent. Our target has changed. However, just as Lin Yang made the decision and prepared to lead everyone to the administration building. Crackle. Hiss. The long silent campus broadcast system suddenly crackled to life. Then a voice dripping with hypocrisy and feigned righteousness echoed through every corner of Hanhai College over the speakers. Surviving students. Teachers, please don't panic. I am your student council president Zhao Tianyu. I, Zhao Tianyu, have led my guardian squad to successfully clear and occupy the administrative building, establishing an absolutely safe haven here. Now, by the authority of the student council president, I command all survivors hearing this broadcast to immediately bring whatever supplies you've gathered and assemble at the administrative building to accept my unified management and distribution. Especially, the voice paused, its tone tinged with a sickening, unguarded greed and condescension. Any team possessing beautiful women will receive my special treatment. The feigned righteous voice echoed through the deathly silent campus, sounding particularly jarring. In the cafeteria, Lin Yang's face instantly darkened, especially upon hearing that final line about teams with beautiful women receiving special treatment. An undisguised, icy killing intent flashed in his eyes, courting death. Beside him, Tang Shiqin, Li Ying, and Li Yuqing wore frosty expressions, their eyes brimming with undisguised disgust and vigilance. They weren't fools, they could clearly discern the naked, nauseating greed and possessiveness in those words. This so-called student council president Zhao Tianyu was no savior, but a wolf in sheep's clothing. Brother Lin Yang, this Zhao Tianyu. I've heard of him. Li Yuqing frowned, speaking softly. Even before the apocalypse, he was a hypocrite, using his position to toy with many girls' feelings. He had a terrible reputation. It seems someone has beaten us to our target. Lin Yang sneered, showing no discouragement that the other party had occupied the administrative building. Good saved him the trouble of searching. He had no intention of immediately responding to that foolish or the fact that the other party controlled the broadcast system meant they had fully taken over the administrative building, likely commanding a group of people, possibly even ability users. Acting rashly without understanding the situation wasn't his style. He would wait and see, let the prey come to him. Sure enough, before they could leave the cafeteria, the roar of an engine grew closer. A makeshift armored vehicle converted from a campus patrol car and topped with crude iron grating pulled up arrogantly at the cafeteria entrance. The door opened and a youth in a designer tracksuit with slick back hair, looking decent on the surface, stepped out, flanked by a group of thugs wielding steel pipes and machetes. It was none other than student council president Zhao Tianyu. He immediately spotted Lin Yang inside the cafeteria, as well as the three breathtakingly beautiful women with distinct auras behind him. Zhao Tianyu's eyes went wide instantly. A thick, unshakable greed and lust flickered deep in his eyes, but he quickly masked it with a deceptively warm smile. Hello there, fellow student. Zhao Tianyu extended his hand, a smile he thought was charming plastered on his face. I'm Zhao Tianyu, student council president. I'm delighted to see such a strong survivor team like yours in this apocalypse. Lin Yang didn't shake his hand, only offering a cold glance. Unfazed, Zhao Tianyu withdrew his hand, his gaze lingering on Tang Shiqin and the other two women. He issued an enthusiastic invitation. Brother, I can see you're skilled, and your companions are no weaklings either. How about joining the Guardians? Say the word, and I'll appoint you as the deputy captain of our Guardian squad, second only to me above everyone else. Though his words were aimed at recruiting Lin Yang, his eyes seemed to undress the three women. His speech dripped with concern for them. Ladies, rest assured, once you join the Guardians, I Zhao Tianyu guarantee you'll never have to live in fear again. The admin building has the safest rooms, the cleanest beds, and endless food. Just then a thought only Lin Yang could hear resonated in his mind through a spiritual link. It was Li Ying. Brother Lin Yang. This man is a complete scumbag. I just tried to probe his thoughts, and his mind is filled with filthy schemes to trick you into the admin building, kill you, and then turn us three into his personal playthings. Just as he suspected. Lin Yang's killing intent surged, but his face remained impassive, even faint. Oh, President Zhao thinks so highly of me. I'd be remiss to refuse. Lin Yang smirked. In that case, joining is an honor we welcome. However, we have some important supplies we painstakingly gathered back at the dorm. We need to pack them up before— Haha, no problem. Of course. Zhao Tianyu was overjoyed at Lin Yang's agreement, looking at him as if he were already dead. With a grand wave, he pointed at two burly thuggish henchmen behind him. I'll send along an Ahu to go with you. First to help you carry things, second to watch your backs. Well, thank you, President Zhao. Lin Yang's smile grew icy. Watch their backs. More like surveillance and intimidation. Zhao Tianyu watched Lin Yang lead the 3 women and his 2 men toward the dorm, his face twisting into a vicious, smug grin. In his eyes, Lin Yang was a lamb already caught in a trap, and those 3 exquisite beauties would be his feet. Little did he know, in Lin Yang's eyes, he and his so-called guardian squad were nothing but prey, delivering themselves laden with supplies and energy cores. Back at dormitory No. 6, Lin Yang led everyone inside. He deliberately didn't clear the zombie corpse's head killed in the hallway, nor did he reveal the luxurious safe room akin to a presidential suite. He simply opened the door to an ordinary adjacent dorm room, empty except for a few old iron bunk beds. "We stay here. Our stuff is in the lockers. We'll pack up," Lin Yang said flatly. Along and Ahu, seeing the shabby surroundings, completely dropped their guard, replacing it with undisguised contempt. Following a loser like this, what future was there? Their audacity instantly grew. As Lin Yang pretended to pack a backpack in a corner, Along's gaze lewdly fixed on Tang Shikin's cold, beautiful face and voluptuous figure. He licked his cracked lips and sidled up to her with frivolous words. "Hey, little beauty, stop packing. From now on, follow our brother Zhao, and you'll feast on the fat of the land. Isn't that 100 times better than sticking with this worthless, good-for-nothing security guard?" Tang Shikin's pretty face turned icy cold, and she ignored him. Feeling his pride wounded by her disregard, Along's lecherous grin grew even more repulsive. He actually stretched out his grimy, dirt-caked hand, aiming to touch Tang Shikin's smooth, delicate cheek. "You little vixen, quite the attitude. You refuse a toast only to be forced to drink. Today I'll inspect the goods for brother Zhao first." Lin Yang slowly turned around, his gaze turning icy. In an instant, a murderous aura locked onto that outstretched, filthy hand. That grimy hand, just a hair's breadth from Tang Shikin's cheek, froze. It wasn't that it wanted to stop. Rather, a hand like a steel vice shot out from an unexpected angle, clamping down on its wrist with iron force. It was Lin Yang. Somehow he had already appeared beside Along like a ghost, a cruel sneer plastered on his. "My woman, do you think a scumbag like you has the right to touch her?" Before his words faded, Lin Yang's wrist suddenly exerted force, twisting outward. A sickening sound of shattering bones echoed through the entire dormitory. "Oh!" Along's lecherous face contorted in an instant, and he let out a blood-curdling scream like a pig being slaughtered. His entire right arm was twisted by Lin Yang at a grotesque angle, bent like a pretzel. Splintered white bone even pierced through the skin, exposed to the air as blood gushed forth. The searing agony drove him to his knees, clutching his ruined arm and howling in misery. Along, the other thug, Ahu, was terrified out of his wits by this sudden turn of events. He couldn't fathom how this seemingly ordinary, unremarkable security guard possessed such terrifying strength and such ruthless methods. After the shock came boundless fear and rage. "Damn it, you're asking for death," Ahu roared, instinctively reaching for the sharp machete at his waist. But he never got the chance. Just as his hand gripped the handle, an extreme chill surged from behind him. He stiffly looked down, only to see the tip of a crystalline icicle radiating a chilling frost protruding from his own chest. The icicle was even stained with his warm heart's blood. He turned his head with difficulty, seeing behind him a face so cold it was beyond measure, yet breathtakingly beautiful. It was Tang Shikin. At this moment, her face bore no trace of weakness or coquettishness. Instead, it was replaced by the cold indifference and decisiveness of a queen. She had ended a life with her own hands, yet her eyes showed no flicker of emotion. Thud! The light in Ahus's eyes quickly faded, and his burly body crashed heavily to the ground, silent. Ding! Team member Tang Shikin's first human kill, mental transformation. Extreme Frost Domain Proficiency 100. Ding! Successfully killed hostile humans, X2, survival points 20, beauty illustration bond, EXP 20. The entire dormitory fell into silence once more. Only the suppressed whimpering of Along, driven by agony and terror, remained. The 2 newly joined female students, one from the electrical engineering department and one from nursing, were huddled in the corner, trembling with their heads in their hands, their faces etched with terror. Their worldview had been utterly shattered in that moment. Murder. So this was the apocalypse, where killing could be so simple, so decisive. Meanwhile, inside the modified patrol vehicle parked at the cafeteria entrance, Zhao Tianyu was lounging in his seat, humming a tune, fantasizing about the delightful scene of holding 3 stunning beauties in his arms tonight. The walkie-talkie in his hand was still on. Suddenly, crack, a clear sound of bone breaking came through the device. Then came Along's heart-wrenching scream. "Oh!" The smile on Zhao Tianyu's face instantly froze. "Along! Ahu! Report! What's going on?" He barked into the walkie-talkie, but from it came only Along's fading wails and the dull thud of a heavy object hitting the ground. Nothing else. A dead silence. Zhao Tianyu's face darkened to the point where water could drip from it. Something had gone wrong. His 2 most capable thugs had fallen to that damned security guard in mere seconds. He had underestimated him. A wave of humiliation from being toyed with and a towering rage instantly overwhelmed his reason. Damn it! Ungrateful bastard! Zhao Tianyu hurled the walkie-talkie to the ground with all his might, his face twisted with fury as he roared at the dozen underlings outside the vehicle. Everyone move out. Level dormitory building 6. Kill all the men and feed them to the dogs. Capture all the women alive. They'll make them wish they were dead. Yes, brother Zhao. The dozen underlings roared in unison, their eyes gleaming with bloodlust. They had long been drooling over the 3 stunning women by Lin Yang's side. With a roar of fury, the modified vehicle charged aggressively toward dormitory building 6, carrying the gang of thugs. Yet none of them noticed from an inconspicuous second-floor window of the dormitory Li Ying's seductive eyes were coldly watching everything unfold. Brother Lin Yang, they're coming. 13 of them, all armed, charging through the first-floor entrance. In the mental link, Li Ying's voice sounded calm. Excellent. A cold smirk curled at the corner of Lin Yang's mouth. He kicked the still moaning along unconscious, then walked to the dormitory door and shouted downstairs. Yuqing lighted up. Roger, brother Lin Yang. From the third-floor stairwell, Li Yuqing poked her head out, looking at the Guardian members charging up below, her eyes devoid of any pity. At her feet was a pile of gasoline-soaked quilts and debris prepared in advance. She raised her delicate fair hand, and a searing ball of fire materialized out of thin air. Perish for your folly. She casually tossed the fireball down. Whoosh! The gasoline ignited instantly. The terrifying flames, like an awakened dragon, let out a roar and devoured the entire narrow hallway in an instant. The stairs between the first and second floors became a desperate sea of fire. Oh, help! Fire! It's fire! My leg! My leg is on fire! The unlucky few at the front were immediately engulfed in flames, turning into human torches. They screamed in agony, thrashing wildly in the confined space, only spreading the fire to more of their comrades. Thick smoke billowed and screams echoed. The once arrogant Guardian squad fell into complete disarray, suffering heavy casualties. Downstairs, Zhao Tianyu stared at the sudden sea of flames, and his men wailing within it, utterly dumbfounded. A trap! They had set a trap all along. In the midst of his shock and fury, a cold, mocking voice drifted down from above his head. He jerked his head up to see Lin Yang standing at the 6th-floor window, arms crossed, looking down at him with the contempt one reserves for a pathetic ant. Is this all the student council president has to offer? Lin Yang sneered. Your Guardian squad should be renamed the Suicide Squad. Lin Yang. Zhao Tianyu's eyes blazed crimson, his lungs nearly bursting with rage. He pointed at Lin Yang and let out a beastly roar. You think this is over? He'll kill you. With a furious bellow, he thrust both hands upward. An invisible force erupted. Clang. The sturdy iron railing by the stairway was wrenched apart like soft noodles. The fire hydrant's iron door twisted and shattered into countless fragments. The metal shards flew through the air, converging and fusing in an instant. Under Zhao Tianyu's control, they coalesced into 3 tumtor-long, razor-sharp metal spears. Metal manipulation. This was his ability. Die! Zhao Tianyu roared, swinging his arm forward. Whoosh! 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 The 3 metal spears tore through the air, shrieking like precise artillery shells as they hurtled toward Lin Yang at the 6th-floor window. But just as the spears were about to strike Lin Yang, a thick, crystalline wall of ice materialized before him, shielding him completely. Tang Shiqin had acted. Bang! 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 The 3 heavy metal spears slammed into the ice wall with 3 thunderous impacts. The ice wall shuddered violently, spiderweb cracks spreading across its surface, but it held, barely blocking the lethal strike. What a... Zhao Tianyu's pupils contracted. An ice-type ability user. Before he could recover from the shock, an invisible mental force stabbed into his brain. His head buzzed as if struck by a heavy hammer. Darkness swam before his eyes, and searing pain forced a grunt from his lips. His control over the metal wavered fatally. It was Li Ying. Strike while the iron was hot. Boom. Boom. 2 blazing fireballs arced over the ice wall, slamming into the panicked Guardian members below, sparking fresh chaos and screams. It was Li Yuqing. Ice wall defense, mental interference, flame suppression. A perfect team coordination. Zhao Tianyu watched in horror. His once proud ability, his meticulously assembled team. They were like toddlers before this small group of 4 utterly helpless, toyed with and slaughtered. Fear. Boundless fear engulfed him. Retreat. Retreat. He finally panicked, screaming but the game was over. Leaving. Did I give you permission? The icy voice seemed to come from the depths of hell. Zhao Tianyu looked up in terror to see Lin Yang leaping from the 6th-floor window. Was he insane? Yet Lin Yang adjusted his posture midair, landing steadily on the ground, his feet cracking the hard concrete into 2 shallow pits. He was unharmed. Gripping a machete wreathed in roaring flames, Lin Yang charged like a tiger into a flock of sheep, plunging into the scattering Guardians. Blades flashed, flames surged. Each swing sent a head flying, and a jet of black blood spraying. This was no longer a battle. It was a one-sided massacre. Zhao Tianyu was utterly petrified. He scrambled backward, his eyes filled with nothing but despair. He knew he was finished. In his desperation, the basest instincts of human nature erupted. He spun around, grabbing a trembling subordinate and shoving him in front of himself as a human shield. At the same time, he pulled a dark pistol from his coat. He still had a gun. Zhao Tianyu aimed the barrel precisely at Li Yuqing, who was casting spells from the third-floor window. His handsome face was grotesquely twisted with fear and madness. Lin Yang, he screamed with all his might, his voice hysterical. Take one more step and it'll blow your bitch's head. The dark muzzle pointed at the beautiful, slightly flushed face framed by the third-floor window. Zhao Tianyu's roar was shrill and distorted, born of utter madness and terror. Lin Yang, take one more step and it'll blow your bitch's head off. He had succeeded. The figure reaping his men's lives like a specter came to an abrupt halt. Downstairs, the few remaining guardians scrambled behind Zhao Tianyu, clinging to this man, who had used a comrade as a shield and now threatened a woman as their only lifeline. At the third-floor window, Li Yuqing's face turned deathly pale. But surprisingly, she didn't scream. She bit her lip, tightly clenching her small fist, struggling not to become a burden to Lin Yang. Lin Yang slowly raised his head, the machete still stained with flames and black blood, its tip angled toward the ground. He gazed at the frenzied Zhao Tianyu, his eyes eerily calm, even laced with undisguised mockery. Idiot! Lin Yang uttered the two words softly. His voice was low, yet it reached Zhao Tianyu's ears with perfect clarity. What? He dared to insult me. Consumed by a sense of utter humiliation, Zhao Tianyu's mind went blank, leaving only the instinct to pull the trigger. Die! He screamed, his finger pressing down with all his might. But in the thousandth of a second before the trigger, Lin Yang vanished. He simply disappeared from where he stood without a trace. Zhao Tianyu's pupils shrank to pinpricks. What was this? Where was he? Before he could process it, a wave of deadly peril surged from direct. He instinctively looked up to see Lin Yang standing at the third-floor window like a descending god, shielding Li Yu. Ding! Team Bond reached level 1. Bond skills unlocked. Shared vision, short-range blink. Skill effect: the host can share vision with any registered member, and by consuming a small amount of mental energy, instantly teleport to that member's side. Range limit 100 meters, cooldown 10 minutes. All of this happened in a flash. Zhao Tianyu saw only a blur of motion, and then the hand gripping the trigger could no longer move. A cold, powerful hand had already seized his pistol, which was scorching hot from being on the verge of firing. In the end, the bullet was still fired. But not at Li Yuqing. Under Lin Yang's control, it was shot into the empty. Zhao Tianyu was utterly stunned. He stared at the face so close to his, wearing a deathly smile, and his entire mind ceased to function. Spatial movement. Teleportation. What the hell kind of monster was this? Your biggest mistake. Lin Yang's voice, like a demonic whisper from the deepest abyss, slowly echoed in his ear. Was using my woman to threaten me. Before his words faded, Lin Yang squeezed the gun barrel with all his might. Creak. The hard steel barrel, forged from refined steel, was twisted and flattened in his hand like a piece of clay. Zhao Tianyu let out a terrified scream. But he didn't even have a chance to retreat. Lin Yang's other hand, like an iron clamp, seized his fragile neck, lifting him off the ground as his feet flailed helplessly in the air. Suffocation. The shadow of death instantly enveloped Zhao Tianyu completely. Let me go. He choked out a few words from his throat, his eyes filled with pleading and terror. Tell me, what else did you find in the administration building? Lin Yang's voice was devoid of any emotion, his fingers slowly tightening. Cough. Cough. They'll talk. They'll tell you everything. Under the threat of death, the so-called dignity of the student council president was shattered into dust. Zhao Tianyu coughed violently, confessing everything in broken sentences. My father is a deputy director of the city planning bureau. After the apocalypse, he gathered a group of people and is building a large survivor base at the Zhou's industrial park in the east of the city. The Zhou family. The Zhou family again. Lin Yang's pupils contracted sharply. How many people do they have? What weapons? I don't know. I only know that the Zhou family has great influence, and they seem to have taken control of a small arsenal in the east of the city. They have guns. A lot of guns. Zhao Tianyu was already on the verge of rolling his eyes. So that was it. So this was the old fox, Zhou Baishan's trump card. Using his official identity to seize military resources and industrial parks, first establish a base and gather survivors. A clever scheme. One last question. Lin Yang's voice grew even colder. Is Zhou Long there too? Yes. Long ago, he awakened a very powerful ability. He's the Zhou family's key protected asset. Having obtained all the information he wanted, the curve of Lin Yang's mouth turned cruel and satisfied. Good. Your usefulness ends here. No, don't kill me. My father is a deputy director. I can get him to give you a lot of supplies. Many women. Please. Zhao Tianyu's pleas came to an abrupt halt. Crack. A crisp sound of bone breaking rang out. Without a moment's hesitation, Lin Yang, right in front of everyone, cleanly and decisively, snapped his neck. Zhao Tianyu's body shuddered violently, the light in his eyes fading rapidly, as his head tilted to one side, at a grotesque angle, completely lifeless. Lin Yang casually tossed his corpse like a piece of trash down the stairs. Thud. The body hit the ground with a dull sound. Downstairs, the few remaining members of the Guardians, witnessing this, were so terrified that their livers and gallbladders seemed to burst, and they scattered in panic, fleeing in all directions. Lin Yang did not give chase. These small fry were no longer worth his effort. He turned around and looked at the three women behind him, whose faces were still pale, but whose eyes were incredibly bright. Especially Tang Shiqin and Li Ying, who looked at the bodies littering the floor and the walls blackened by fire, their stomachs churning violently. Lin Yang walked up to them, his voice calm, but carrying an undeniable authority. Remember this feeling. This is the apocalypse. If you want to survive, you have to be more ruthless than your enemies. From now on, we will tread over more such corpses. Either the enemies or ours. This bloody and brutal second lesson was once again deeply etched into the hearts of the three women. They no longer trembled, only silently nodding, their gazes becoming incredibly resolute. Cleaning the battlefield. The gains this time far exceeded Lin Yang's expectations. Ding. Successfully killed ability user, Zhao Tianyu, ability points 80. Survival points, 1500. Ding. Annihilated the Guardians squad, team bond experience, 500. Apart from the point rewards, the greatest gain was undoubtedly the modified Ford Raptor off-road vehicle downstairs that Zhao Tianyu had customized. Reinforced steel plates, a menacing ram on the front, iron mesh welded over the windows, and a platform on the roof for mounting a machine gun. This was practically a mobile fortress in the early days of the apocalypse. A perfect chariot of vengeance. In addition, they found 3 Type 92 pistols and 7 or 8 fully loaded magazines on the bodies of the Guardians. Looking at this formidable war chariot and the brand new weapons, Lin Yang's gaze slowly shifted towards the eastern part of the city. The Zhou family. Zhou Long. Wait for me. The path of revenge is about to begin. Zhao Tianyu's corpse still lay warm downstairs, his eyes twisted with fear, staring unblinkingly at the sky. Lin Yang did not spare him another glance. A self-righteous buffoon, not even worthy of being his stepping stone. His real enemy was the Zhou family, hiding behind the scenes, commanding a large force and believing they could control everything. Zhou's industrial park. Small arsenal. A dangerous and excited light flickered in Lin Yang's eyes. This was indeed fantastic news. He had been worried about not having a lead to find the Zhou family's whereabouts, and that fool Zhao Tianyu had delivered the intelligence right to his door. However, now was not the time to act rashly. A base with an arsenal would undoubtedly have formidable defenses. Without absolute certainty, what he needed to do was further strengthen himself and his team's strength. Clean the battlefield. Take everything useful. Lin Yang gave the order. Li Ying and Li Yuqing immediately set to work, while Tang Shiqin used ice to extinguish the fire downstairs. As for the 2 newly joined girls and Jing from the electrical engineering department, and Bai Rou from the nursing department, though still trembling with fear, they forced themselves to help gather the spoils. The modified Ford Raptor was intact. 3 Type 92 pistols, 8 magazines, and over 100 rounds of ammunition. There were also over a dozen machetes and steel pipes scavenged from Zhao Tianyu's men, along with some scattered canned goods and bottled water. A substantial haul. You 2 take these supplies to the warehouse on the 6th floor first. Lin Yang pointed at Jing and Bai Rou. Yes. Yes, Senior Lin Yang. The 2, as if granted amnesty, hurriedly carried the items and ran upstairs. Watching their retreating figures, Lin Yang turned to Tang Shiqin and the other 2 girls and said, "Let's go. We still have one most important thing to do. Administrative building, basement backup power room." The Ford Raptor, named by Lin Yang as the Vengeance Chariot, let out a low growl as it crushed the scattered zombies across the campus, quickly reaching the destination. With the intelligence provided by Jing, they effortlessly located the backup power room on the 2nd basement level of the administrative building. The door was locked from the inside, indicating that Zhao Tianyu and his group had yet to discover this place. Lin Yang couldn't be bothered to find a key. He simply kicked the door with full force. Boom. The heavy iron door, as fragile as paper, buckled inward and was sent flying off its hinges. Inside the power room, rows of neat cabinets flickered with faint indicator lights. At the center, protected by a thick glass cover, was a silver-white metal block the size of an office desk, exuding a futuristic aura and emitting a soft blue glow. High-energy battery core. This is it. Lin Yang's eyes lit up. He stepped forward, ignoring the high-voltage danger warning sign, and pressed both hands directly onto the glass cover, exerting all his strength. Crack. The tough explosion-proof glass shattered into pieces, Lin Yang effortlessly removed the battery core weighing hundreds of kilograms from its base. Ding. Base energy source detected. High energy battery core small. Energy reserve 95. Would you like to install it in the base core? Install. Lin Yang commanded with a thought. Whoosh. The high-energy battery core in his hand vanished, instantly teleported directly by the system to the base in dormitory building No. 6. Ding. Base energy source installed. Base system fully activated. Current energy 950-1000. Base construction module updated. New buildings unlocked. A large section of the building list on the virtual light screen before Lin Yang's eyes lit up instantly. Defense fortification LV1, required material steel plates x 500 cement, x 1000 survival points, x 2000 buildable supply, warehouse LV1, required materials wood x 200, iron nails x 500 survival points, x 1000, buildable psi ability training room LV1, required materials special alloy x 100 and energy wire x 50, survival points x 5000, buildable base medical room LV1, requires nursing professional x 1 survival points x 3000, conditions met buildable. Power system maintenance station LV1 requires electrical professional x 1 survival points x 3000, conditions met buildable. Gene research lab LV1I unlocked requires recruiting relevant talent. As he looked at the rows of now illuminated options, a smile of growing satisfaction spread across Lin Yang's face. He now had money, people, and energy. It was time for an ultimate power-up. System. Build the psi ability training room, base medical room, and power system maintenance station for me. Ding. Construction confirmed. Consumed 11000 survival points. Construction complete. Returning to dormitory building No. 6, several previously empty dorm rooms had undergone a dramatic transformation. The walls and floor of one room were completely covered in a metallic silver-gray material exuding a sci-fi vibe. This was the psi ability training room. In another room, several extremely high-end medical instruments and a white metal pod resembling a stasis chamber had materialized out of thin air. This was the base medical room and its attached gene enhancement pod. The room at the end of the corridor had been transformed into the power system maintenance station, filled with wires and when Jing and Bai Rou witnessed all this, they were utterly stunned. The way they looked at Lin Yang now was no different from how one would gaze upon a deity. And Jing Bai Rou. Lin Yang's voice snapped them out of their shock. From today onward, your task is to maintain the base's power system and manage the medical room. Do well, and I won't treat you unfairly. As he spoke, he pointed to the gene enhancement pod in the medical room. That's the gene enhancement pod. As long as you contribute enough to the base, I can use it to make you powerful psychics too. Boom. These words exploded like a thunderclap in the minds of the two girls. Becoming psychics. For ordinary people like them struggling to survive in the apocalypse, this was a luxury they dared not even dream of. Thud. Unable to contain their excitement any longer, they knelt directly before Lin Yang, their voices trembling with emotion. Senior Lin Yang, we will swear loyalty to you unto death. We will never betray you. In that moment, their loyalty was maxed out. Ding. Successfully recruited followers X2 loyalty reached devoted. Unlocked base auto maintenance function. After pacifying the two useful aides, Lin Yang turned his gaze to Tang Shichin and the other two girls. You three take turns in the training room. Get familiar with your surging powers and adapt to the rhythm of combat as quickly as possible. Psi ability training room LV1 can consume energy to simulate virtual opponents identical to ordinary zombies, mutated zombies, and even first-tier psychics for casualty-free combat drills. This was a divine tool tailor-made for them. Hearing this, the three girls' eyes sparkled with excitement and anticipation, and they immediately entered the training room. Soon the sounds of ice cones, whistling flames, exploding, and psychic blasts echoed from within the training room. While they trained, Lin Yang walked into the medical room and fixed his gaze on the gene enhancement pod. He wanted to see just how powerful the system's enhancement could be. System perform gene enhancement on me. Detected host possesses a peak soldier-level physique. Proceeding with deep optimization and enhancement. Estimated energy consumption 500 points, ordinary zombie cores x 100. Confirm. Confirm. Without hesitation, Lin Yang laid down inside the enhancement pod. The hatch slowly closed, and a pale blue nutrient fluid rapidly filled the entire space. A warm and comfortable sensation enveloped his entire body. The next second, countless faint currents surged from all directions, stimulating every muscle, every nerve, every cell. Time ticked by minute. When Lin Yang opened his eyes again, he felt the entire world had changed. His vision, hearing, and sense of smell had all been enhanced dozens of times over. He could clearly hear the faint labored breaths of Li Yuqing in the adjacent training room as her psychic energy ran out. The moment he clenched his fist, the air itself emitted a sharp crackling sound. An unprecedented explosive power surged through every limb and fiber of his being. Ding. Host body enhancement complete. Strength 20. Speed 20. Neural response 30. The compatibility between ace-level combat techniques and the body has reached 100. It has automatically evolved into Grandmaster-level combat techniques. Overwhelming power. Unprecedented strength. Lin Yang felt that even without any special abilities relying solely on this physical body, he could effortlessly tear apart mutated zombies. Just then the system's notification sounded once more. Ding. Team members Tang Shiqin, Li Ying, and Li Yuqing have undergone intensive training, greatly enhancing their combat capabilities. Loyalty and synergy have reached new heights. Team bond level upgraded to LV2. Unlock team combination skill Tri-Element Shield. Tri-Element Shield formed by the fusion of ice, fire, and spirit elements, it can instantly generate a powerful energy barrier to withstand one lethal attack, far exceeding the defense limit. Cooldown 24 hours. Yet another powerful life-saving trump card. Lin Yang nodded in satisfaction. Everything was ready. On the night before departure, Lin Yang packed the Revenge War chariot to the brim. Using his last survival points, he exchanged for a massive amount of ammunition, high-calorie military rations, medical supplies, and several large barrels of gasoline. The four of them stood on the rooftop of Dormitory Building 6. The evening breeze ruffled the soft hair of the three women as they gazed down at the city shrouded in darkness and death, yet no trace of fear remained in their eyes. Lin Yang. Tang Shiqin spoke first, her voice cold, yet carrying an unshakable resolve. From now on, I, Tang Shiqin, will obey your every command. Me too. Brother Lin Yang, wherever you go, I'll follow. Li Yuqing tightly hugged Lin Yang's arm. Li Ying remained silent, but her enchanting soul-stirring eyes gazed deeply at Lin Yang, saying everything without words. They had formally pledged their loyalty to him, for they knew that this man before them was the sole sovereign who would lead them to conquer this apocalypse. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight pierced the darkness. Boom! The engine of the Revenge War chariot roared like thunder as it burst through the gates of Hanhai Academy, officially driving into the perilous urban area. Lin Yang gripped the steering wheel, his expression stern. Li Ying sat in the passenger seat, her spiritual power spreading like an invisible radar scanning the surroundings. Tang Shiqin and Li Yuqing sat in the back, holding unsheathed blades, vigilantly watching the scenes outside. On the streets, abandoned vehicles clogged the roads and hordes of zombies wandered aimlessly, numbering 100 times more than on campus. This heavily armed ultimate apocalyptic squad officially embarked on their path of vengeance toward the Zhou's industrial park. However, just as the vehicle turned a corner, Li Ying's face suddenly changed. Her enchanting features turned solemn as she urgently shouted, "Brother Lin Yang, there's trouble ahead." Such a strong spiritual fluctuation. It's not zombies. It's a large group of ability users. They're besieging a woman. Lin Yang slammed on the brakes, parking the car in the shadow of a building. Following Li Ying's direction, he saw a fierce battle erupting at the intersection hundreds of meters away. Lightning flashed. Electric serpents danced wildly. A stunningly beautiful woman in a blue police uniform, agile and valiant, was being frenziedly attacked by dozens of men wielding weapons. Her situation was perilous. At the center of the intersection, the battle was brutally intense. Lightning burst and electric serpents writhed. A breathtaking woman in a blue police uniform, her voluptuous figure perfectly accentuated, was being wildly assaulted by dozens of men armed with blades and steel pipes. Her uniform was torn in many places, her smooth forehead glistening with sweat, her breathing rapid. Yet in her bright eyes there was no fear, only a fierce fighting spirit and unyielding resolve. Her uniform was torn in many places, her smooth forehead glistening with sweat, her breathing rapid. Yet in her bright eyes there was no fear, only a fierce fighting spirit and unyielding resolve. However, there were too many attackers. While she dealt with enemies on one side, several men on the other found an opening, brandishing machetes and sneering as they aimed for her slender waist from behind. Gritting her teeth, the woman executed an agile sideways roll, narrowly dodging the fatal strike. But the sharp blade still left a deep, bone-deep gash on her snow-white thigh. The searing pain made her groan, causing a momentary hesitation in her movements. She's almost done. Brother, step it up. Catch her. This little bitch is a rare find with a rare lightning ability. The boss said whoever catches her first gets to have fun first. Obscene remarks filled the air as the bandits' assault grew even more ferocious. Inside the Revenge War chariot, Lin Yang raised his binoculars, taking in the agile figure fighting amidst the lightning. What a valiant and stunning police flower. That face, beautiful enough to drive any man wild, now enhanced by anger and sweat, added a breathtaking allure. Especially that unique aura of fearless justice. It stirred a warmth in Lin Yang's heart. Ding. Rare target discovered, Morong Shui. Occupation Police Flower Rare Appearance 95 Ability Lightning Control Legendary Status Severely Injured Ability Overexerted Conquest Reward Obtain Legendary Ability Lightning Control or randomly draw a legendary reward once. A legendary ability. Lin Yang's breathing grew heavy. This was legendary, a tier above Tang Shichin and Li Ying's epic level. Top tier in both speed and explosive power. He had to secure it. Brother, that woman is strong. At least a peak second-tier ability user. Li Ying's voice echoed in Lin Yang's mind, tinged with gravity. But there are too many attackers. The Scar-faced leader is a third-tier Earth ability user, which greatly counters her lightning. She can't hold on much longer. The atmosphere in the vehicle grew tense. Maybe we shouldn't meddle, Tang Shichin said coldly, analyzing rationally. Our goal is the Zhou's industrial park. Straying off course now isn't wise. Though she spoke thus, her hand unconsciously tightened on her short blade as she watched the woman fighting alone. But she's wearing a police uniform. She must be protecting someone. Li Yuqing said, her big eyes full of concern. Brother Lin Yang, can we save her? Lin Yang didn't answer. He simply lowered the binoculars. A smile curved at the corner of his mouth, a domineering, unquestionable arc. Saved? A single word, decisive and crisp. He turned his head, looking at the three women in the car, and said coldly, it's not just to save her. It's also for training. To show you what real team combat is like. And to make every wretched soul on this street see clearly that from today onward this place, who calls the shots? Before his words had even faded, with a thunderous roar, Lin Yang slammed the accelerator to the floor. The reinforced engine of the revenge battle vehicle erupted with a beastly, terrifying howl. The entire vehicle, like an awakened steel beast, crashed through the makeshift barricade of abandoned cars ahead, and amid a screeching cacophony of twisting metal charged into the battlefield. A textbook-perfect drift. The massive chassis kicked up clouds of dust, carving a flawless arc on the ground, and came to a halt precisely between the gang of bandits and the severely wounded Murong Shui. This sudden turn of events left everyone on the battlefield stunned. Both the frenzied attackers and Murong Shui, who was on the verge of death, stared in disbelief at this steel beast that had appeared out of nowhere, exuding a fierce and overwhelming power. Damn it! Who the hell are you meddling in the Mad Wolf Gang's business? Looking for death? The scar-faced leader, covered in brutish features, was the first to react, pointing at the revenge battle vehicle and bellowing in fury. Lin Yang couldn't even be bothered to roll down the window. His cold, concise command echoed inside the vehicle. Open fire. The next second, there was no need for Lin Yang to say another word. The three women had already understood his intent, poised and ready. Swish. Tang Shichin's pretty face turned icy cold. Several sharp ice shards instantly materialized and shot out from the firing ports of the windows, piercing the throats of the most raucous bandits with deadly precision. Boom. Li Yuqing followed closely behind. A blazing fireball the size of a basketball roared out and exploded amidst the crowd, instantly engulfing 3 or 4 bandits in screaming flames. Oomph. A strange purple light flickered in Li Ying's eyes. An invisible mental shockwave like a heavy hammer slammed fiercely into the minds of the surviving bandits. For a moment the air was filled with screams, wails, and terrified shrieks. The once arrogant members of the Mad Wolf Gang, under this triple assault of ice, fire, and mental force, fell into utter chaos, suffering heavy casualties. What is this? Murong Shui, shielded behind the vehicle, was completely stunned. Leaning against the wall, clutching her bleeding thigh, her beautiful eyes were filled with an incredulous shock. She could clearly sense emanating from that car 3 distinct, yet flawlessly coordinated surges of powerful supernatural energy. The piercing cold of ice, the explosive fury of fire, and the eerie subtlety of the mind. When had such a formidable and terrifying survivor team appeared in this wasteland of a city? Bastard. The scar-faced man, seeing his forces routed in an instant, was both shocked and enraged. His sinister eyes fixed on the revenge battle vehicle as he let out a beastly growl. Earth Dragon Wall. He stomped his foot hard and slammed both hands onto the ground. Rumble. A half-meter-thick earthen wall formed from concrete and steel rebar rose abruptly, barely managing to block the second wave of attacks from Tang Shichin and Li Yuqing. The ice shards and fireball crashed against the wall, sending up clouds of rubble and dust, but failed to penetrate it. Officer Murong, did you think bringing help would allow you to win? After blocking the assault, the scar-faced man revealed a vicious grin. None of you are leaving today. He stomped his foot again, a cruel glint flashing in his eyes. Chain of earth spikes. The ground began to tremble violently. However, this time the several extremely sharp earth spikes condensed from concrete were not aimed at the people inside the car. Instead, they shot up from underground with even greater speed, viciously targeting the seemingly vulnerable underbelly of the revenge battle vehicle. The scar-faced man's grin froze on his face. The scene he had envisioned, The modified car being pierced through the chassis by countless spikes and torn into scrap metal did not materialize. What appeared instead was an extreme, bone-chilling cold. That cold aura, as if from the deepest abyss, spread silently, yet overbearingly across the ground. Crack, crack, crack. The hard concrete surface visibly began to form a thick layer of white frost. The surging, violent power of earth elements in the face of this cold seemed like a beast with its throat seized instantly, becoming sluggish and stiff. The sharp earth spikes about to burst forth abruptly halted less than an inch from the vehicle's undercarriage. Then, with a series of crisp cracking sounds, they lost all their power, crumbling into fragile, frozen clumps of earth that fell back to the ground with a rustle. Tang Shiken's extreme ice domain didn't even need to fully deploy, just a wisp of its released power effortlessly neutralized this so-called killing move. The car door slowly pushed open. Lin Yang stepped out. He didn't look at the unscathed vehicle, nor did he glance at the surrounding bandits who stood with mouths agape. He simply strode forward step by step towards the scar-faced man whose face had lost all color. He walked slowly, steadily, the flaming kukri in his hand, dragging a line of fire along the ground. His demeanor was less like approaching a third-tier superhuman and more like taking a stroll in his own backyard. "Is that all you've got?" His contemptuous voice, devoid of any emotion, struck the scar-faced man's heart like a heavy hammer. Humiliation. Sheer unadulterated humiliation. "Arg, he'll kill you." The scar-faced man was completely enraged. His eyes bloodshot, he looked like a demon possessed. He squeezed out every last drop of his earth-type power without reservation and slammed his hands onto the ground again. Die? Gravity earth wall. Rumble. An enormous earth wall several times thicker than before and over 5 meters wide, formed from countless layers of reinforced concrete, rose up like a giant palm, swatting a fly crashing down towards Lin Yang with the force of 10,000 June. This strike was enough to flatten a main battle tank into a pancake. Yet Lin Yang did not dodge or evade. He didn't even pause in his stride. Just as the earthen wall was about to crush him, a thin, translucent layer of ice crystals instantly covered his entire body. This was the most basic ice ability application rewarded by the system after he conquered Tang Shiqin. Bang! A deafening, earth-shattering roar. Everyone thought Lin Yang would be smashed into a pulp, but the next scene made their eyes nearly pop out of their sockets. That seemingly indestructible, massive earthen wall, upon contact with Lin Yang's body, seemed to have collided with a high-speed meteor. Countless fragments of rubble mixed with steel bars sprayed violently in all directions, and Lin Yang, from within the swirling dust and smoke, emerged completely unscathed. He had used his physical body alone to shatter the full-force strike of a third-tier ability user, crashing headlong into it. The madness on Scarface's face was instantly replaced by boundless terror. He wanted to flee, but his legs felt as heavy as lead, utterly unresponsive. He could only watch helplessly as that demonic figure strode before him. Uft! The blade, wreathed in blazing flames, traced a cruel arc. A massive head soared into the air. Blood gushed forth like a fountain from the severed neck. Thud! The headless corpse collapsed heavily to a dead silence fell over the entire scene. The remaining dozen or so members of the Mad Wolf gang were utterly broken. As they gazed upon the man holding a blood-dripping war blade exuding an aura of hell itself, they couldn't even muster the thought of resistance. Thump! Thump! Everyone threw down their weapons, scrambling to kneel, frantically kowtowing and begging for mercy. "Spare us. Please, sir, spare us. We were wrong. We'll never dare again. We failed to recognize your greatness. Please just let us go like a fart." Just then a cold, righteous voice shattered the pleas. "Freeze." Morong Shui limped forward, dragging her injured leg. Biting back the searing pain, she aimed her service pistol steadily at Lin Yang's back, her voice trembling slightly with rage and weakness. "You killed someone. You must stand trial. Put down the weapon." Lin Yang slowly turned around. It was as if he had heard the most absurd joke in this apocalypse. "Trial?" He looked at the naive policewoman as if she were an idiot, a hint of undisguised mockery curling at the corner of his mouth. "In this apocalypse you talk to me about a trial. Why don't you ask them first?" Lin Yang pointed the tip of his blade at the trembling thugs on the ground. "How they plan to try you just now? It's also for training, to show you what real team combat is like. And to make every wretched soul on this street see clearly that from today onward this place, who calls the shot?" Lin Yang completely ignored the dark muzzle of her gun. He walked over to a thug who was kowtowing the hardest, lifted his foot, and stomped down heavily. Crack! The thug's left leg bent at a grotesque angle. "Arg!" A pig-slaughtering scream echoed once more. "Talk! Why were you ambushing her? Where is your hideout? How many supplies do you have?" Lin Yang's voice was icy, devoid of any emotion. Morong Shui watched the bloody, brutal scene, her stomach churning violently. She wanted to pull the trigger to stop, yet the sense of justice and order she had prided herself on and upheld for half her life was now being shattered by Lin Yang's most direct and brutal methods, teetering on the edge of collapse. Was she right? In this world where human life was as cheap as grass, and the strong preyed on the weak, did the so-called law and trial truly hold any meaning anymore? He'll talk. He'll talk. Don't kill me. The thug with the broken leg completely broke down, confessing everything amidst a flood of tears and snot. We're the Mad Wolf Gang, a well-known organization around here. We set our sights on Officer Murong's beauty and the small shelter she protects. Our boss isn't Scarface. Our real boss was a PE teacher from the city. He turned into a corpse king, the mighty strength corpse king. It's holed up in the city sports center not far from here. Scarface was just following orders to capture her. The city sports center, the mighty strength corpse king. Lin Yang had obtained all the intelligence he needed. He raised the machete in his hand without a moment's hesitation. Puffed. The blade fell, and the screams ceased abruptly. He flicked the blood off the blade, turned, and looked again at the cold, beautiful policewoman, whose face was pale from shock and discomfort, her lips tightly pressed together. Now you have two choices. Lin Yang's voice like a demon's whisper rang clearly in Murong Shui. One, continue to judge me with your ridiculous sense of justice, and then he'll knock you out and go take over your shelter and everyone inside it. Two, lead the way and he'll help you deal with that so-called corpse king. But all the spoils, including the sports center. Murong Shui's hand gripping the gun trembled slightly. She bit her lower lip so hard it almost drew blood, her mind racked by a fierce internal conflict. Murong Shui's hand gripping the gun trembled slightly. On her striking, heroic face, all color had drained away, leaving only a deathly pallor. Reason told her that the man before her was a complete madman, a demon who viewed human life as nothing more terrifying than the monsters of the apocalypse. Yet the justice and order she had prided herself on and upheld for half her life had been shattered into pieces by this man's most bloody and brutal reality in just the past few minutes. A trial. Yes, what could she use to judge him? With that law book now worth less than a scrap of toilet paper in the apocalypse? Or with this service pistol, which had less than a full magazine of bullets left? If this man hadn't appeared today, the only fate for her and the dozen or so survivors in the shelter she guarded would have been to be raped, tortured, and killed by those thugs, becoming playthings for their bestial desires. Who would judge them then? I. Murong Shui's lips moved, but in the end the hand gripping the service pistol fell weakly to her side. She chose compromise, not out of fear, but out of a deeper despair and powerlessness. They'll take you. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down, but her voice remained a little hoarse. But the ordinary survivors captured by the Mad Wolf Gang are innocent. Lin Yang glanced at her without a word. He turned and walked towards the Mad Wolf Gang thugs who were kneeling on the ground, already soiling themselves in terror. Uffed, uffed. The machete in his hand didn't pause for a moment, like the scythe of death, precisely and efficiently slicing through the wrists and hamstrings of every thug. Arg. For a moment screams filled the block again, 100 times more agonizing than when their leader had died. He didn't kill them, but he used a method more cruel than death itself, stripping them of their final ability to survive in this apocalypse. That is my answer. Lin Yang flicked the blood off his blade, his voice cold and devoid of any human emotion. As for those so-called innocents, whether they live or die is up to their own luck. I'm not a savior. I have no interest in being everyone's babysitter. After finishing, he walked towards the ordinary survivors who were locked in another car by the Mad Wolf Gang, shivering in fear. He kicked the car door open and coldly spat out a single word: get lost. Those few people, as if granted amnesty, scrambled out without looking back, vanishing around the street corner. Murong Shui stood there dazed, watching this man redefine the rules of this place with such simple and brutal means. Her heart sank completely. Clean up the battlefield. Load everything usable onto the vehicles. Lin Yang's command was concise and clear. Tang Shichin and Li Yuqing immediately sprang into action, searching the bandits' vehicles and hauling out crates of canned goods, compressed biscuits, and several large barrels of precious purified water. Li Ying, using her spiritual sense, scanned the area, confirming that no supplies or potential dangers had been overlooked. Although blood still flowed from the wound on her thigh, Murong Shui simply tore a strip from her police uniform, tied it tightly, and limped over to join the scavenging effort. She moved swiftly with professional precision, soon retrieving a nearly new pistol and 3 spare magazines from the scar-faced man's corpse, then silently handed them over to Lin Yang. She knew that from this moment on there was only one commander for this team. The supplies left by the Mad Wolf Gang were substantial. Besides food and water, there were 2 roughly modified pickup trucks. Take the vehicles, bring the supplies. Lin Yang settled back into the driver's seat of the Vengeance War Chariot. We're heading to the sports center. Virum. The convoy started up and drove deeper into the city. On the way to the sports center, Mu Rongxue witnessed Lin Yang's terrifying tactical prowess for the first time. He was nothing like an ordinary campus security guard. Turn right at the next intersection onto Bin Avenue. That road has the fewest abandoned vehicles. Li Ying, expand your spiritual scan to 300 meters. Watch the high-rises on both sides. That's where mutant zombies are most likely to appear. Tang Shichin, if we encounter a large horde, use an ice wall to block the narrow alleys on both sides of the street immediately. Trap them on the main road so we can charge through. Mu Rongxue, your lightning is for point elimination. Handle the fast-leaping zombies. One clear command after another flowed from Lin Yang's mouth without a hint of hesitation. He didn't even look at a map. The entire city's layout seemed etched into his mind. His understanding of zombie behavior, his use of terrain, his precise allocation of team members' abilities. All of this left Mu Rongxue, a former city police captain, feeling unprecedented shock and awe. This was not the quality of an ordinary survivor. This was clearly the hallmark of the most seasoned top-tier Special Forces commander. Just who was this man? Under Lin Yang's command, they navigated through danger with little effort, smoothly reaching the outskirts of the city's sports center. The massive sports venue lay crouched in the ruins of the city like a silent giant beast. A deathly stillness reigned here, a stark contrast to the wandering zombies outside. It was too quiet, a silence that chilled the heart. The group got out of the vehicles and cautiously infiltrated the sports center. As soon as they entered the interior, a thick, nauseating stench of blood mixed with the foul odor of decay assaulted them. Before their eyes was a vision of hell. Mutilated corpses littered the entire passage, and Stan's clotted black blood had stained the ground a dark crimson. Hundreds of ordinary zombies, as if subdued by some force, lay prostrate on the ground, trembling, bowing in worship toward the very center of the stadium. And there in the middle of the green field, a giant zombie over 3 meters tall with bulging muscles and skin the gray, withered color of rock knelt on the ground. Using its massive fan-like hands, it tore at a bloody corpse, stuffing huge chunks into its mouth. With every chew, black blood and shreds of flesh dripped from the corners of its mouth. The mighty strength corpse, the oppressive weight heavy as a mountain, made Tang Shichin and Li Yuqing struggle to breathe and turn their faces pale at just a single glance. Even Lin Yang felt an unprecedented pressure. The aura emanating from this corpse king was a whole tier stronger than the dormitory manager corpse king he had encountered in the dormitory building. This would be an unprecedented, fierce battle. The mighty strength corpse king finally stopped feeding. It slowly stood up, its over 3-meter frame casting a mountain-like shadow that plunged the central area of the stadium into darkness. Its scarlet eyes rolled slowly, finally locking onto Lin Yang and his group, who had infiltrated the venue. Roar! A deafening roar erupted from the depths of its throat. The terrifying sound waves transformed into a tangible shockwave sweeping across the entire stadium. Seats in the stands were torn up in sheets, fragile glass shattered into pieces in an instant. The hundreds of ordinary zombies lying prostrate upon hearing this roar, as if receiving a command, scrambled to their feet, turned around, and fixed their hollow, bloodthirsty eyes on the intruders. Not good. Mu Rongxue's face changed dramatically. Its roar can control the lower-level zombies. Fall back quickly. Before her words faded, the zombie horde was already moving. Hundreds of zombies, like a flood bursting through a dam, surged from all directions, howling. Shichin, ice wall. Lin Yang's command was calm, without a ripple. Understood. Tang Shichin didn't hesitate for a second. Her jade-like hand pressed forward. Crack! A massive ice wall 1 meter thick and 3 meters high rose abruptly from the ground, instantly sealing the entrance to their passage and blocking most of the ordinary zombies outside. But, boom! A thunderous crash. The mighty strength corpse king took heavy strides, charging toward them at a full sprint. Each step caused the entire stadium to tremble violently, as if an earthquake had struck. Its rock-like body smashed through every obstacle in its path, charging straight at the ice wall with a terrifying speed that defied its enormous size. Bang! The ice wall, condensed with all of Tang Shichin's strength, was like a fragile piece of glass before this monster. Just one impact. The ice wall exploded, scattering into a blizzard of ice shards. The immense impact force made Tang Shichin's face turn pale. She staggered back 2 steps, a coppery taste in her mouth as a thread of blood seeped from the corner of her lips. A single charge had already inflicted significant internal injuries on her. The strength of this corpse king was beyond anything anyone could have imagined. Ying disrupted. Lin Yang issued another order. Li Ying was already prepared. A violet light blazed in her enchanting eyes. An invisible wave of spiritual force stabbed fiercely at the giant head of the mighty strength corpse king. Roar! The corpse king's charging figure came to a sudden halt. Its movements froze for a split second. It worked, but then the very next moment. Roar! The corpse king let out an even more furious bellow. It shook its massive head, and the murderous gleam in its scarlet eyes blazed brighter. Lin Yang's psychic assault had only managed to halt it for less than a second. Its mental resistance is too high. Lin Yang's face turned pale as the psychic backlash sent a sharp pang of pain through her mind. At that critical moment, a dazzling bolt of lightning tore through the dim arena. Wretched beast, face your death. Gritting her teeth against the searing pain in her leg, Murong Shui charged forward of her own accord. Her agile figure traced an elegant arc through the air, and in her hand, she had somehow acquired a high-strength metal rod detached from a police anti-riot fork. Sizzle. The violent power of lightning was fully channeled into the metal rod. The entire rod transformed into a spear of thunder crackling with an aura of annihilation. She thrust this strike condensed from all her supernatural power fiercely toward the eye of the giant strength corpse king. It was the most vulnerable part of its body. Yet the giant strength corpse king merely raised its enormous fan-like hand with disdain and casually swatted at Murong Shui in midair. The speed was beyond comprehension. Murong Shui's pupils shrank as she saw only a vast shadow descending upon her. She wanted to dodge, but it was far too late. Thud. A dull sound. Murong Shui's lithe body, like a swatted fly, was sent hurtling backward even faster than she had come. A spray of blood painted a tragic, beautiful arc through the air. Her body slammed heavily into the wall of the distant stands, then slid weakly to the ground. The thunder spear slipped from her grasp, clattering to the floor as she fell into complete unconsciousness. One-shot kill. A legendary tier superhuman at the peak of the second stage couldn't even withstand a single blow from it. Officer Murong. Li Yuqing let out a shriek, tears instantly welling up in her big eyes. That scene pierced her heart deeply. Why was she so useless? Forced to watch her comrades fall before her one by one. If only her flames were a little stronger. If only her power were a little greater. Roar. The giant strength corpse king, having swatted away Murong Shui as if she were an annoying insect, seemed satisfied. Its scarlet gaze shifted once more and finally settled on Li Yuqing, who appeared the most delicate and harmless. It bared its gaping maw in a cruel grin and strode forward step by step toward Li Yuqing. It intended to crush this seemingly sweetest and most delicious morsel. Fear. An unprecedented fear enveloped Li Yuqing's heart. But rising alongside the fear was an even more searing, more violent emotion. Rage. A towering rage. Don't come near me. Li Yuqing bit her lip tightly as tears streamed down her fair cheeks. Her body trembled uncontrollably, yet her hands remained fiercely raised before her chest, where a ball of orange-red flame danced and burned violently in her palms. Get away. She let out a tearful scream, mustering all her strength to hurl the fireball toward the monster, drawing ever closer. But the fireball struck the corpse king's rock-like chest. With a soft puff, it extinguished, completely unable to leave even a scorch mark on its body. The giant strength corpse king halted, tilting its head. Its enormous face twisted into a highly human-like expression of mockery. It reached out its massive hand slowly toward the utterly despairing Li Yuqing. It's over. Li Yuqing closed her eyes. But then, in the moment she abandoned resistance, an indescribable heat and nobility surging from the depths of her bloodline erupted from the core of her soul. Ding. Detected that team member Li Yuqing in extreme rage and despair has awakened her bloodline. Ability Fire Control, beginning evolution. Evolution direction Solar True Flame. Evolution successful. Congratulations to team member Li Yuqing for acquiring the legendary ability, Solar True Flame. Boom. A golden inferno like an awakened volcano erupted from Li Yuqing's petite body, shooting into the sky. A terrifying temperature instantly swept through the entire stadium. The air was set ablaze. Space itself warped. Li Yuqing's body slowly levitated into midair. Her cute sportswear turned to ash in the golden flames. In its place, a magnificent gown woven from the purest golden fire adorned her form. She opened her eyes. Those once clear, watery orbs had transformed into a blazing, majestic, and indifferent pure gold that looked down upon all beings. She was like a goddess of fire descending upon the mortal world. The giant strength corpse king's outstretched hand froze in midair. For the first time, the emotion called fear flickered in its scarlet eyes. It sensed an absolute suppression at the level of life itself. Die. A single icy and authoritative syllable emerged from Li Yuqing's lips. She slowly raised her delicate hand, as if carved from the purest white jade. A tiny golden lotus no larger than a palm, exquisitely beautiful and seemingly harmless, silently bloomed in her palm. She waved her hand casually. The golden lotus drifted lightly, appearing slow, yet moving so fast it defied spatial distance, flying toward the giant strength corpse king. Ruhar. The corpse king let out a roar of utmost terror, abandoning all attack and turning, but it was too late. The golden lotus clung like a shadow, silently imprinting itself onto the corpse king's broad, thick back. Time seemed to freeze in that instant. The next second, no explosion, no sound. The terrifying golden flames erupted from within the Corpse King's very body. That arrogant Corpse King, which had one-shot Murong Shui, shattered the ice wall and ignored the psychic assault. It couldn't even let out a single scream. Under the utterly stunned gazes of Tang Shiqin, Lin Yang, and Lin Yang, who had just caught his breath, its massive, indestructible body dissolved and vaporized from the inside out inch by inch. Finally, it turned into a pile of black ash scattered across the green field. A breeze passed, leaving no trace. One-shot kill. Having done all this, the golden flames on Li Yuqing receded like a tide. The gold in her eyes faded, quickly returning to their original clarity. An overwhelming weakness washed over her. Her body went limp, and she fell helplessly from the air. A figure flashed by. Lin Yang moved in an instant, catching her soft, delicate body steadily in his arms, wrapping her in his own coat. And at that very moment, ding! Team member Li Yuqing has successfully evolved a legendary ability, and the host receives a homologous reward. Your ability Flame Control has been automatically upgraded to legendary level Solar True Fire Beginner Stage. A domineering and unparalleled force seemingly capable of incinerating the 8 wastelands and extinguishing all creation erupted within Lin Yang's body with a thunderous awakening. Lin Yang lowered his head to gaze at the girl in his arms who had fallen unconscious from exhaustion, and then sensed the brand new world-shattering power surging within him. A tempestuous wave rose in his heart. So this was the power of a legendary ability. Tang Shiqin and Li Ying stood frozen, staring at the scene. Their faces bore not only the relief of surviving a calamity and the awe inspired by the golden flames, but more profoundly a heartfelt reverence and fear for Lin Yang. Even their growth and evolution were inextricably linked to this man. He was their sky, their deity. At a distant corner by the wall, Murong Shui struggled to sit up. Clutching her aching chest, she looked at the empty green field, and then at Li Yuqing cradled in Lin Yang's arms. Her mind went blank. A legendary ability. A one-shot kill of the Corpse King. The potential of this team and the mystery of this man had completely surpassed her comprehension. For the first time, she began to doubt. Had the so-called order and justice she had always upheld become nothing more than a laughable, worthless joke in this chaotic, demon-infested apocalypse? Lin Yang, holding Li Yuqing, turned and issued commands to the still-dazed Tang Shiqin and Li Ying. Clean up the battlefield and tally the spoils. Ding. Successfully killed Giant Strength Corpse King. Ability points 500. Survival points 8,000. Ding. Annihilated Mad Wolf Gang. Team Bond experience 2,000. Ding. Team Bond level up to LV3. New feature unlocked: Base Modular Movement. Base Modular Movement. The host can consume a large amount of energy to store constructed base core modules, such as training rooms, medical rooms, etc., into the system space for strategic relocation. Another divine skill. This meant that the base and dormitory building No. 6 was no longer a fixed fortress, but a mobile super stronghold that could follow him. The curve of Lin Yang's lips grew more pronounced. The gains this time were immense. Brother Lin Yang, is she all right? Li Ying approached, looking at the pale-faced Li Yuqing in Lin Yang's arms, her face filled with worry and lingering fear. It's nothing, just exhaustion. She'll be fine after a good sleep. Lin Yang gently placed Li Yuqing into the back seat of the Vengeance War Chariot and covered her with a coat. He himself had been injured by the Corpse King's aura and felt his internal energy churning, but he forcibly suppressed it. He was the sole pillar of this team now, though he could not afford to fall. We've struck it rich. Tang Shiqin's voice came from deep within the sports venue, tinged with barely contained excitement. The group followed her and discovered a hidden equipment room that served as the Mad Wolf Gang supply warehouse. The sight before them made everyone gasp. Mountains of canned goods, compressed biscuits, and vacuum-packed meat were enough to feed over 100 people for months. Hundreds of boxes of bottled water and energy drinks were neatly stacked. There were also large quantities of emergency medicines, antibiotics, and bandages, a veritable field hospital. Most crucially, in a locked iron chest, they found the true treasures. 5 brand new Type 92 pistols, over 20 fully loaded magazines, and 2 full cases of 40 military-grade hand grenades. This was no mere fortune, it was damn at the armory of a small army. It seemed that the Giant Strength Corpse King in his former life as a gym teacher had frequently led the Mad Wolf Gang thugs to visit nearby armories and police stations. Now all of this had become Lin Yang's spoils. Move it. Load everything we can take onto the trucks. Lin Yang waved his hand and issued the order. Everyone sprang into action. Even Murong Shui, who had just regained consciousness and was still gasping for breath, limped over to help. She watched as Lin Yang methodically directed the group, prioritizing the most valuable weapons, ammunition, and medicine, followed by food and water. A flicker of complex emotion passed through her bright eyes. Though this man was ruthless and lawless, his calm decisiveness and overwhelming strength acted like a massive magnet exuding a fatal allure. Especially in this crumbling apocalypse, such allure was enough to make any woman succumb. Soon 3 pickup trucks were packed to the brim. Lin Yang walked up to Murong Shui. Take 1 truckload of these supplies. He pointed to a pickup loaded with food and medicine, his tone flat. What? Murong Shui was stunned. She thought she had misheard. She had assumed that someone like Lin Yang would hoard all the spoils for himself, even treating her as part of the loot. Yet now he was voluntarily giving her 1/3 of the supplies. Why? As she asked instinctively. It's what you deserve. Lin Yang's answer was simple and direct. You provided intelligence, fought in the battle, and nearly died. My rule is clear: reward for merit, punishment for fault. He paused and continued in an unwavering tone. Of course, you can also see it as an investment from me. I need you to consolidate your shelter in the shortest time possible, turning it into my most stable intelligence hub and source of recruits in this area. My enemies are formidable. I need more eyes and more cannon fodder. His words remained as cold and pragmatic, but this time Murong Shui felt no discomfort. Instead, she found it the most genuine approach. In this apocalypse, any kindness without reason was the deadliest poison. Only cooperation built on interest and value was the most stable and reliable. All right. Murong Shui gave him a deep look and nodded firmly. From today onward, the City West Police Station shelter will follow your orders without question. She did not say thank you, for she knew this man had no need for it. Ding. Successfully recruited rare target Murong Shui. Preliminary loyalty reached trust. Beauty Atlas lit. Conquest progress 20. Partial rewards obtained 1 random draw for rare grade reward. Drawing. Congratulations, host. You have obtained rare ability Eagle Eye Vision. Eagle Eye Vision, your dynamic vision, long-range sight, and precision are greatly enhanced. You can see a mosquito's wings from 1,000 meters away. Another practical auxiliary divine skill. Lin Yang's mood grew increasingly light. He was about to give the order for the convoy to set off first, escorting Murong Shui back to the shelter. However, at that very moment, a harsh crackling static suddenly erupted from the walkie-talkie at Murong Shui's waist. This device was the only long-range communication equipment in her small shelter. Murong Shui's expression shifted as she quickly grabbed the walkie-talkie. This is Murong Shui. Please respond if you can hear me. A few seconds of silence followed from the device. Then a young man's voice, filled with panic, terror, and ragged gasps, came through in broken fragments. Captain Murong, you need to come back. Something terrible has happened. It's a disaster. Murong Shui's heart plummeted. Stay calm. Speak slowly. What's going on? It's the Zhou family. The Zhou family has come. The Zhou family. Upon hearing those words, Lin Yang's movements froze abruptly. He turned his head, a terrifying glint of sharp light bursting from his pupils. How did they find this place? Could it be that bastard Zhao Tianyu's father? Through the walkie-talkie, the young team member's voice became twisted and shrill from sheer terror. They came in an armored vehicle. There are so many of them. So many guns. They've surrounded us. They said we're harboring a wanted felon. They named names. They want you to come back immediately. At this point, the team member's voice trembled violently with fear. He seemed to glance at something, then mustering all his strength, let out a desperate roar. They want you to hand over Lin Yang. The Zhou family. Those 2 words, like a curse forged from 10,000-year-old mystic ice, transmitted through the walkie-talkie. In that instant, an invisible, yet soul-freezing, terrifying, killing intent erupted from Lin Yang's body. The air around him plummeted in temperature. Tang Shirqin, who had just been inventorying supplies, froze mid-motion. Her delicate face was instantly covered in a layer of frost. The power of extreme ice domain was involuntarily triggered by the pull of this killing intent. Liang shuddered all over, instinctively stepping back half a pace. What she felt was a pure extreme will of violence that sought to annihilate everything. This man, just what kind of blood feud did he have with the Zhou family? Calm down. You need to get back. They have an armored vehicle. The leader is Zhang Biao, the top henchman under young Master Zhou Long. He's a 3rd-tier superhuman. They're here specifically for you. The young team member's voice was filled with despair over the walkie-talkie. Murong Shui's heart sank to rock. She looked anxiously at Lin Yang, only to find that the killing intent on his face had vanished without a trace, replaced by a chilling calm that made one's heart tremble. Perfect timing. A cold, mocking curve touched the corner of Lin Yang's mouth. Saves me the trouble of hunting them down one by one. He walked up to Murong Shui and issued new combat orders in a tone that brooked no argument. You go back right now. Tell that Zhang Biao that I was gravely wounded by the Corpse King and am clinging to life, that they're trying to save me, but refuse to hand me over. Lead them to the abandoned textile mill 3 kilometers north. The map of that area was crystal clear in Lin Yang's mind. The terrain there is complex with factory buildings everywhere. It's perfect for bolting the door and beating the dog. Murong Shui looked into his confident cold eyes, and her own panic and fear miraculously subsided. She asked no questions and showed no hesitation. This man seemed to possess an innate charisma that compelled unconditional trust. All right. She nodded firmly, jumped into the pickup truck loaded with supplies, floored the accelerator, and sped off towards the shelter. At the entrance of the West City Police Station shelter, a menacing armored vehicle converted from an armored cash transport truck was blocking the gate tightly. 7 or 8 men in matching black combat uniforms wielding automatic rifles were arrogantly pointing their guns at the few trembling survivors inside the shelter. A burly man with a hideous scar across his face and bulging muscles was impatiently kicking the police station's iron door. He was Zhang Biao Zhoulong's chief enforcer, a third-tier giantification superhuman. Damn it, that bitch isn't back yet. They'll give you 3 more minutes. If you don't hand over that bastard Lin Yang, I'll raze this place to the ground. Zhang Biao roared. Just then the roar of an engine approached from the distance. Murong Shui drove the pickup truck and screeched to a halt not far away. Brother Biao, Captain Murong is back, a lackey immediately shouted. Zhang Biao saw Murong Shui getting out of the car, and a lecherous greedy look flashed in his eyes. He licked his lips and sneered. Officer Murong, you're finally back. Where is he? Hand over Lin Yang, and our Zhou family can pretend nothing happened. Murong Shui, suppressing the pain in her leg, put on an angry and defiant expression and shouted loudly. Lin Yang was severely injured by the Corpse King saving me. He's being rescued inside right now. We will never hand him over to scumbags like you. Severely injured. Zhang Biao was stunned for a moment, then burst into manic laughter. Ha ha ha. Heaven helps me. Saves me a lot of trouble. He waved his hand arrogantly and said, since you're so ungrateful, don't blame me for being rude. Get them. Kill the men and the women. His gaze swept over Murong Shui's voluptuous figure, and he leered. Take the women back for the brothers to have some fun. Well, fight you to the death. Murong Shui shouted in feigned grief and indignation, then turned and ran back. Trying to run. After her. Zhang Biao snarled, leading his men in 2 pickup trucks, closely tailing Murong Shui in the direction she was fleeing. He didn't suspect a thing. In his eyes, this group of weak and wounded was nothing more than fish on a chopping block. Soon Murong Shui led them into the abandoned textile mill district. Seeing Murong Shui's pickup truck dart into a massive factory building, Zhang Biao's eyes gleamed with the thrill of a cat playing with a mouse. Without hesitation, he led his men inside. However, the very moment his second vehicle entered the factory building, boom, a deafening explosion thundered at the entrance. An old beat-up car preloaded with gasoline barrels by Lin Yang was detonated instantly. The terrifying flames and shockwave twisted and deformed the huge iron door, completely sealing off the only exit. Shit, it's a trap. Zhang Biao's face changed drastically, but it was too late for everything. Realizing it now, too late. Lin Yang's icy voice, like the pronouncement of death, descended from the second-floor platform of the factory. He appeared like a specter accompanied by Tang Shiqin and Li Yang. Now, at the command, a textbook ambush and slaughter meticulously prepared commenced in earnest. You're asking for death. Zhang Biao roared, about to unleash his ability. A strange purple light flickered in Li Ying's eyes. An invisible mental shockwave violently slammed into the minds of all enemies. The ordinary gunmen, unable even to scream, collapsed in agony, clutching their heads. Some even turned their guns and fired chaotically at their own comrades. Zhang Biao, a third-tier ability user, though he didn't fall, felt a sharp pain in his brain, causing a fatal pause in his movements. This was the moment. Freeze. Tang Shiqin waved her jade hand, and bone-chilling cold surged forth. 2 massive ice walls rose from the ground, precisely dividing Zhang Biao and his men into 2 zones. Thundernet. From the other side, Murong Shui, who had been lying in ambush, shouted. She pressed her hands to the ground, and violent lightning erupted, forming a colossal net that completely enveloped the disoriented gunmen. Zazup! Amidst the sizzling smell of burnt flesh and agonizing screams, the gunmen were instantly electrocuted into charred remains. Bastards! How dare you! Zhang Biao recovered from the mental shock, his eyes bloodshot, as he saw his men die in an instant. He let out a beastly roar. His muscles visibly swelled, tearing apart his combat suit. They'll crush every single one of you. He pushed off the ground with immense force, shooting like a cannonball towards Tang Shiqin's ice wall. Yet just as he was about to hit the ice wall, a small, fist-sized golden fireball, seemingly harmless, drifted down from the second floor, landing precisely in his path. Zhang Biao paid the tiny fireball no heed, not even bothering to dodge. He would use his most formidable power to crush everything in his path. The next second, the moment his body touched the golden fireball, there was no explosion, no roar. Only utter. The supreme solar true fire capable of melting steel erupted instantly. Aya! A scream inhuman and filled with ultimate agony echoed through the entire factory. Zhang Biao's proud gigantification body, as tough as rock, was as fragile as paper before the gold. His arms raised to block along with the two modified pickup trucks from the Zhou family were melted and vaporized upon contact with the flames. Not even molten iron remained. In just 2 seconds, Zhang Biao transformed from a burly giant into a charred, armless monster emitting black smoke. He fell to his knees with a thud, his body convulsing violently, making guttural sounds, his eyes filled with nothing but boundless terror. Lin Yang leaped down from the second floor, landing steadily before him. The two women followed, their faces icy as they beheld the hellish scene and the crippled Zhang Biao. Zhang Biao, looking at the unscathed man before him, who seemed like a demon incarnate, finally broke down. With his last strength, he rasped, "You dare touch me? I am Brother Long's man. The Zhou family won't let you off." Lin Yang walked up to him and stomped on his already disfigured, burnt face, grinding it into the ground. He slowly crouched down and whispered in his ear, a voice only they could hear, "I won't just touch you. I want you to personally tell me where that bastard Zhou Long is and what he's doing. Then he'll make you experience what true despair means." Lin Yang's foot, like a red-hot branding iron, pressed firmly on Zhang Biao's charred face, forcing an intimate contact with the filthy dust of the ground. "How do you want to die?" The icy voice, devoid of any human emotion, chilled the marrow more than the biting wind outside the factory. I was wrong. Spare me." Zhang Biao mumbled an unclear plea mixed with blood and smoke. His proud third-tier gigantification ability was a joke before that tiny golden lotus flame. "Common violence is too good for you." Lin Yang shook his head, his expression resembling a mad scientist selecting an experiment. He turned to look at Li Ying, whose pretty face was still pale. Ying used spiritual charm on him. Huh. Li Ying was slightly taken aback. "I don't want control. I want him to sink into his deepest fears. I want his spirit to be crushed bit by bit." Lin Yang's tone was terrifyingly calm. Li Ying looked at Zhang Biao's miserable state, then at Lin Yang's unwavering gaze. She obediently nodded. "Okay, Brother Lin Yang." She walked before Zhang Biao. In her enchanting eyes, the eerie purple light flared again, but this time it was as deep as a soul-devouring vortex. Phantom of fear. "No." The Zhang Biao, who was begging a second ago, suddenly let out an inhuman, hysterical scream. His body twisted and rolled on the ground in madness, limbs flailing wildly, as if being torn and gnawed by countless invisible monsters. His eyeballs bulged bloodshot, reflecting nothing but endless despair and insanity in his pupils. Stay away. Stay away. It's you. The women I tortured and killed. You've all come back to life. Ah, Patriarch. Don't use my ability. I beg you. My brain is going to explode. Ah, Brother Long. No. Don't feed me to the zombies. I was wrong. I'm so wrong." He wailed, screamed, and then burst into manic laughter. This silent torture was far more terrifying than any bloody interrogation. Murong Shui, standing nearby with her core shelter members who had just arrived and hadn't recovered from the earlier battle, watched the scene, their faces pale and bodies cold. They finally understood the terrifying nature of this man named Lin Yang. For his enemies, even a quick death was a luxury. Enough. Just a second before Zhang Biao's spirit was about to completely shatter into true idiocy, Lin Yang spoke calmly. Li Ying immediately withdrew her ability, her face pale and forehead beaded with sweat, showing that such deep mental attacks drained her greatly. Lin Yang stepped forward and placed his foot on Zhang Biao's chest. The revenge war chariot sped down the highway, the cabin filled with a peculiar scent of post-battle pheromones mingled with perfume. Lin Yang sat in the driver's seat, steering with one hand, while the other tightly embraced the soft, boneless figure in his arms. Having exhausted her last ounce of strength, Murong Shui nestled like a docile kitten, burying her strikingly beautiful, heroic face deep into Lin Yang's solid chest, savoring the warmth and dominance for which she would gladly lay down her life. Her heart was utterly conquered. Tang Shiqin, Li Ying, and Li Yuqing watched this scene, their eyes devoid of jealousy, filled instead with heartfelt pride. This man was their shared sky, their faith. His strength was their glory. Soon the convoy returned smoothly to Dormitory Building 6. As the revenge war chariot slowly entered the cleared underground garage, a stunning woman with gold-rimmed glasses, a white lab coat, a tall and elegant figure, and an intellectual aura, rated a 94 in beauty, stood waiting, holding a data tablet. Su Wanqing, the genius female scientist rescued by Lin Yang from enemy hands. The core brain of this team, responsible for logistics research and base construction. Welcome back. Su Wanqing pushed up her glasses, a flicker of barely noticeable concern passing through her eyes behind the lenses as she saw Murong Shui in Lin Yang's arms and the still damp bloodstains on everyone. All went smoothly. Lin Yang, carrying Murong Shui, strode out of the vehicle. That night, the penthouse on the top floor of Dormitory Building 6 blazed with light. This was Lin Yang's private space and the command center for the entire team. A victory celebration after the battle was underway. Lin Yang sat in the main seat of the sofa. To his left was the cold and seductive police beauty Murong Shui, who had regained some strength, sipping hot congee, her face still tinged with a shy blush. To his right was the proud campus belle Tang Shichin, gently massaging his shoulders with adoration. Across from him, Li Ying reported the material losses and gains from the battle, while Li Yuqing, just awakened, obediently peeled fruit for him. The genius scientist Su Wanqing stood nearby, ready to report her latest research findings. For stunningly beautiful women, each with a unique charm, but all of national beauty, surrounded him like the most loyal handmaidens. The team's bond and core reached an unprecedented height. This was Lin Yang's harem, his most solid foundation for conquering the post-apocalyptic world. Alright, let's report on the strength. Basking in this bliss, Lin Yang felt his ambitions soar. With a thought, his attribute panel materialized clearly in his mind. Host Lin Yang, level tier 3, initial ability points 1250, survival points 23500, acquired abilities 1. Legendary Solar True Fire initial from Li Yuqing, ultimate destruction and purification. 2. Legendary Lightning Mastery high from Murong Shui, ultimate speed and burst. 3. Epic Polar Ice Domain high from Tang Shichin, powerful control and defense. 4. Epic Mental Charm high from Li Ying, unbreakable control and detection. 5. Rare Gigantification high from Zhou Longzhong Biao, pure strength amplification. Note: through system rewards for homogeneous abilities, the host can master them perfectly, but power is related to the depth of bonds with the heroines. For core abilities above epic level, plus a rare strength amplification. This luxurious and almost perverse configuration of abilities was likely unique across the entire post-apocalyptic world. When Lin Yang roughly outlined his capabilities, all the girls present were utterly stunned. Their gazes shifted from admiration to near fanatical reverence. Their man was a god. I have some good news too. Seizing the moment, Su Wanqing pushed up her glasses and handed over the data tablet. From the Berserker potion sample you brought back, I've successfully reverse-engineered and improved a new potion, the Potential Stimulant. It can forcibly boost an ability user below tier 2 by a full major rank within 3 minutes. Although it comes with an hour of weakness afterward, it can turn the tide in critical moments. Another life-saving trump card. Not only that, Su Wanqing said with a confident smile, using the special alloys seized from the Corpse King's warehouse, I've installed an electromagnetic deflection defense system on the Revenge War Chariot. It can withstand most energy impacts below the Corpse King level. Everyone's eyes lit up with excitement. A surge in strength. Equipment upgrade. Everything was ready. Lin Yang slowly stood up, his gaze sweeping over every girl present. The dominance and authority in his eyes made their hearts skip a beat. All preparations are complete. Tomorrow our target, City East Tiandu Base. The final chapter of Revenge was about to unfold. Burning battle intent ignited in everyone's eyes. The next morning at dawn, the fully upgraded Revenge War Chariot, its appearance now more ferocious, embodying an aesthetic of steel and violence, roared like a waking beast as it drove out of the base. This time their target was clear, heading straight for the easternmost part of the city. At dusk, a steel metropolis beyond words appeared on the horizon. 30-meter-high alloy walls stretched endlessly like mountain ranges densely covered with electrified nets. Every 50 meters, an auto turret with red lights flashed. Countless blinding searchlights like the eyes of gods or demons swept every inch of land beneath the walls without blind spots. On the walls, teams of guards in elite combat suits wielding heavy weapons patrolled back and forth. Each one was a formidable ability user. This was the Zhou family's stronghold, Tiandu Base, a bloody fortress built on the bones of countless survivors. Lin Yang didn't approach recklessly. He parked the vehicle in an abandoned high-rise a few kilometers away, then took Murong Shui to the rooftop. Through high-powered binoculars, he coldly observed the giant city. Soon a scene that made his blood boil unfolded. At the base's massive steel gate, a ragged, middle-aged man knelt on the ground, desperately begging the gate guards. Please, sir. I really have no spirit stones left. Just let my daughter in. She's only 8. She's starving. Get lost. If you're broke, get lost. Tiandu Base doesn't support trash. A guard captain-looking man kicked him impatiently. Bang. The father was knocked to the ground, but he still clung desperately to the guard captain's leg. I've been your slave. Please, I beg you. Save my daughter. Courting death. A flicker of cruelty flashed in the captain of the guard's eyes as he raised his foot and with brutal force stomped down on the father's neck. Crack. A sharp sound rang out. The man's pleas were abruptly silenced. Behind him, the frail little girl let out a heart-wrenching cry, but in the next second 2 other guards, leering cruelly, dragged her like a dead dog through the cold steel gate. Her fate was all too predictable. At the city gate, the survivors queuing for entry watched the scene unfold, their faces etched only with numbness. Snap! The high-powered telescope in Lin Yang's hand was crushed into fragments by his sheer grip. A torrent of murderous intent surged wildly within his chest. A formidable contingent emerged from within the city. Leading them was a middle-aged man in a black mouse suit, his face dark and brooding, his eyes as a formidable contingent emerged from within the city. Leading them was a middle-aged man in a black mouse suit, his face dark and brooding, his eyes as sharp as a hawk's. Though he did not exhibit the brute force of Zhou Long, his mere presence exuded a terrifying aura of absolute control, as steady as a mountain. All the guards around him bowed their heads reverently and addressed him as Patriarch Zhou Batian. He had come out personally. Lin Yang's heart clenched. As if sensing something, Zhou Batian, standing amidst the crowd and listening to his subordinates' reports, suddenly lifted his head. His eyes, deep and cold as a frozen abyss, pierced through kilometers of distance and all obstacles, like an invisible bolt of lightning, colliding fiercely with Lin Yang's gaze from the high-rise building. What terrifying perception! A chill ran through Lin Yang's heart, and an unprecedented sense of crisis enveloped his entire being. This old man was undoubtedly the most fearsome enemy he had encountered since his rebirth. Just as Lin Yang prepared to retreat with Murong Shui, a sudden change occurred. A guard, panic-stricken, rushed out from the city. He ran all the way to Zhou Batian, knelt before him, and held up a black metal box with both hands. Zhou Batian frowned and took the box. He opened it slowly. Inside the box lay a ring. A ring scorched and deformed by the true solar fire, yet still bearing the distinct visage of a ferocious dragon, the identity ring of Zhou Long. The moment Zhou Batian saw the ring, his face turned ashen. Then from ashen it shifted into a terrifying pallor. An indescribable, heaven-devouring, all-plundering aura of terror erupted from him. My son. He let out a roar of suppressed fury. Raising his right hand, a black vortex brimming with evil and destructive energy materialized in his palm. My son Zhou Long is dead. Issue my command. Lock down the entire city. Activate the net of heaven and earth. Zhou Batian's voice thundered like rolling thunder, echoing throughout the entire Tiandu base. Search for him. Even if you have to turn this city over inch by inch, you must find the murderer. The piercing alarm of Tiandu base tore through the tranquility of dusk. Like the death knell of hell, it reverberated across the city. Zhou Batian's roar, filled with boundless rage and the agony of losing his son, spread through the broadcast system to every corner of the base. Lock down the city. Activate the net of heaven and earth. Search. Find the murderer. The massive 100-ton alloy city gate, driven by the roar of hydraulic machinery, slowly closed, completely severing all paths in and out. On the city walls, the barrels of over 100 automated turrets swiveled in unison, their red targeting beams sweeping across every inch of land outside the city like the gaze of death. Elite guards in black heavy armor wielding heavy weapons poured out of the city like a tidal wave. Their eyes were bloodshot, their auras fierce, like a pack of enraged hounds beginning a carpet search. In mere tens of seconds, the entire Tiandu base transformed from a sanctuary for survivors into a high-speed war machine drenched in blood and slaughter. Quick! We must go. We've been discovered. On the rooftop, Murong Shui's beautiful face turned deathly pale. She grabbed Lin Yang's arm, her voice filled with panic and fear. The terrifying locking aura from Zhou Batian made her feel as though her very soul was trembling. Too powerful. That man was 10 times more terrifying than she had imagined. Yet Lin Yang stood still, unmoving. Far from being flustered, a cold, cruel smile curled at the corner. Go? Why should we go? He slowly raised his head, meeting the countless sweeping searchlights with his gaze, his voice eerily calm. They won't find us. He turned to Murong Shui and gave the order. Go back and tell Ying to use her mental power to completely shield the aura of this building. With that, he sat down directly, as if the earth-shattering city-wide manhunt unfolding before him had nothing to do with him. Murong Shui looked at Lin Yang's incredibly calm profile, and her panic miraculously subsided. This man was always like this. As if even if the sky fell, he could hold it up. She nodded firmly and quickly returned downstairs. Inside the revenge chariot. When Murong Shui relayed the situation outside and Lin Yang's decision, the atmosphere inside the vehicle instantly froze. What? Not leaving. And we're still going to infiltrate. Tang Shiqin was the first to stand up, her proud face etched with disbelief. Has Lin Yang lost his mind? Tiandu base is a dragon's den and tiger's lair now. They have over 1,000 ability user guards and heavy firepower. Charging in would be suicide. Brother. He must have his reasons, Li Yuqing murmured in defense, but her small hands tightly gripping her clothes betrayed her inner tension. Just then Lin Yang descended from upstairs. He opened the vehicle door and swept his gaze across every girl's face inside. A direct assault would indeed be suicide. He walked to the battle map, picked up a red marker, and drew a huge cross over the most heavily guarded central area of Tiandu base. He sent all his hounds out to find me. Lin Yang's smile grew even wider. Doesn't that mean his own lair is empty? Our opportunity has come. In a tone that brooked no dissent, he announced the audacious plan. Tonight we infiltrate the heavenly capital base. I need a partner. His gaze fell upon Li Ying's enchanting face. Ying, you're coming with me. Your spiritual charm is the key to this operation. Yes, brother Lin Yang. Li Ying stepped forward without hesitation, her face brimming with excitement and honor. Shurqin Shueri Yuqing. Lin Yang's gaze shifted to the other three women. You three stay outside the city as backup and fire support. Keep communication open at all times. Watching, you're responsible for hacking their internal network. I need to know every move Zhou Batian makes. The division of labor was clear, the instructions precise. Yet, no, I disagree. Tang Shurqin and Murong Shui almost spoke in unison as they stepped forward. It's too dangerous. Just the two of you. Murong Shui's chest heaved violently. She absolutely couldn't bear to watch this man take such a suicidal risk. Lin Yang looked at their worry-filled faces. Without a word of explanation, he walked over slowly. He reached out one hand, grasping Tang Shikin's cold little hand, the other gently caressing Murong Shui's cheek. Trust me. His voice was soft, yet carried a domineering power that could convince anyone. To uproot this great tree, we must strike at its roots. Wait for my return. Gazing into his deep, confident eyes, all the objections of Tang Shurqin and Murong Shui got stuck in their throats. In the end, they could only choose to believe in him unconditionally. Deep night. The moon was dark. The wind. Two black figures like phantoms merging into the night silently approached a relatively secluded wall on the west side of the heavenly capital base. The defenses here had a temporary gap as most personnel had been dispatched outside the city for the manhunt. A patrol had just passed by. The next squad would arrive in 3 minutes. Now, Lin Yang let out a low shout. His legs exploded with power, and like a weightless leopard, he sprinted up the vertical wall. His king-level climbing skills were on full display. The 10-meter-tall alloy wall was as easy for him as walking on flat ground. Almost at the same moment, Lin Yang vaulted over the wall. A flash of purple light flickered in Li Ying's enchanting eyes. In the surveillance room hundreds of meters away, a drowsy guard saw only a slight flicker on the screen at that corner. He rubbed his eyes, cursed the junk machine, and went back to dozing. He had no idea that in that very second, 2 shadows of death had perfectly evaded his surveillance. Lin Yang landed silently inside the wall, then lowered a rope to pull Li Ying up. Successful infiltration. The two quickly hid in a dark corner. Before long, 2 lone guards approached, grumbling about the overtime work tonight. Lin Yang and Li Ying, like hunting leopards, struck instantly. Thump, thump. 2 dull impacts. The guards collapsed without even a groan. Lin Yang swiftly stripped off their combat suits and changed into them along with Li Ying. Li Ying pressed her delicate hand onto one guard's forehead. After a moment, she withdrew her hand, her face slightly pale. Brother, I've got the base's basic layout and tonight's password. Excellent. The two transformed into members of the heavenly capital base and swaggered toward the interior. Along the way, they brushed past several squads of heavily armed patrols. Each time, Li Ying's heart leaped. Halt. Password. A patrol captain blocked them. Dragon City's flying general. Lin Yang's tone was utterly unruffled. The captain nodded, scanned them briefly, and waved them through. Watching the patrol disappear, Li Ying let out a long sigh of relief, her back soaked with cold sweat. She stole a glance at Lin Yang beside her, only to find him still wearing that cool, indifferent expression, as if he were just strolling through his own backyard. What was this man's heart made of? According to the guard's memories, all the base's secrets and Zhou Batian's residence were located in the center, a black tower that pierced the sky like a sword 100 meters tall, the heavenly capital tower. That was the true core. Just as the two in disguise were gradually approaching the heavenly capital tower, a cold, arrogant female voice suddenly rang out from behind them. You two stop right there. Lin Yang and Li Ying's steps halted abruptly. They turned around. A young woman in a white lab coat, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, tall and slender, with a look of impatience and arrogance on her face, was frowning at them. Why hasn't Miss Zhou's purification potion been delivered yet? Can you afford to delay her treatment? Miss Zhou. Lin Yang and Li Ying's bodies tensed to the extreme in an instant. This sudden interrogation hit their raw nerves like a bucket of ice water. Their disguise was flawless. How could an ordinary-looking female researcher have seen through them? A flash of killing intent crossed Lin Yang's mind, but he forcibly suppressed it. No. Her tone was haughty, but her question was about the purification potion, not their identities. This was an opportunity. In a split second, Lin Yang and Li Ying exchanged a glance, completing an instant information transfer. Lin Yang immediately dropped the calm demeanor of a veteran soldier and put on a look of utter panic, and he snapped to attention, lowered his head, and stammered with a hint of panic, "Sorry, ma'am. We're new here, not too familiar with the roads." "Well, deliver it right away." "Right away." Lin Yang gave a performance of a lifetime. Her face turned pale in an instant, her body trembling slightly, as she hid behind Lin Yang, looking utterly terrified. The female researcher with gold-rimmed glasses named Dr. Qin was a former colleague of Su Wanqing and a key scientific talent poached by the Zhou family. Seeing their pathetic demeanor, her impatience and contempt deepened. "Useless," she muttered under her breath, clearly harboring no suspicion about their identities. In this strictly hierarchical base, it was perfectly normal for low-level guards to show such fear before a senior researcher like her. She strode quickly to them, shoved a metallic briefcase, requiring both fingerprint and password verification to open, roughly into Lin Yang's arms. "Take it. This is the last high-concentration purification potion meant to stabilize Miss Rox's mind. Deliver it to the top floor of the Celestial Tower immediately. If you delay the young lattice treatment and incur Mr. Zhou's wrath, both of you and your captain will be fed to the zombies." These words fell perfectly into Lin Yang's plans. His original scheme was to find a way into the Celestial Tower by any means necessary, but he never expected the opportunity to deliver itself right to his doorstep. "Yes, sir. We guarantee the mission will be completed." Lin Yang bowed obsequiously, pulling the still trembling Li Ying along as he turned and strode swiftly toward the Celestial Tower. Watching their retreating, panic-stricken figures, Dr. Qin let out a disdainful snort before turning and entering her laboratory. She remained utterly oblivious that the moment she turned away, Lin Yang's terrified expression had already reverted to a deathly chill. The Celestial Tower, the symbol of the Zhou family's power and the very heart of this blood-soaked fortress. It was only when Lin Yang and Li Ying stood before this black monolith that they truly felt the suffocating terror it exuded. The guard force at the tower's base was 10 times greater than outside. Rows of heavily armored guards, their auras condensed, and oppressive, cast razor-sharp gazes that sliced through every approaching figure. At the entrance, 4 exceptionally powerful ability users stood like statues, positioned at the 4 cardinal points. Fourth Order. All 4 gatekeepers were formidable Fourth Order ability users. "Halt. State your business." A man who appeared to be the captain blocked their path. Lin Yang immediately raised the metal briefcase in his hand and replied respectfully using the lines he had just memorized. "Sir, we are under Dr. Qin's orders to deliver the purification potion to Miss Roashi." The captain took the case, checked the markings, confirmed with Dr. Qin via communicator, and then waved them through. "Go on in. Top floor, the presidential suite. Remember, you are to see only Miss Roashi. No looking around, no asking questions. Otherwise, death." "Yes, sir." Lin Yang and Li Ying kept their heads down as they quickly stepped into the private elevator heading to the towers. As the elevator doors slid shut, sealing off all external gazes, Li Ying finally let out a long, trembling breath. She leaned against the cold metal wall, her chest heaving violently. The oppressive aura of those 4 Fourth Order ability users had been terrifying. Just then, Lin Yang's voice echoed directly in her mind. "Don't let your guard down. The real battle is above." This was the spiritual link ability gained after the Beauty Codex had evolved. "Understood, Brother Lin Yang." The elevator chimed as it reached the top floor. The doors opened to reveal a scene of breathtaking luxury. Soft wool carpets, priceless artworks, and beyond the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, the panoramic night view of the entire base. Yet all of this was suffused with a cold, deathly stillness, like a gilded cage for a songbird. 2 maids in uniform immediately approached. "Hand over the potion. You may leave." Just as Lin Yang was about to hand over the case, a gentle, yet slightly frail female voice drifted from deeper within the room. "Let them come in." The maids dared not disobey and stepped aside. Lin Yang and Li Ying entered and finally laid eyes on the legendary young mistress of the Zhou family, Zhou Ruashi. She was nothing like the arrogant, domineering heiress Lin Yang had imagined. She sat quietly in a wheelchair, dressed in a pure white silk nightgown. Her face bore a sickly pallor from years spent away from the sun. Her demeanor was gentle and fragile, and her clear eyes held a deep, unshakable melancholy and kindness. She was like a white lotus growing in the mud, yet untouched by its filth, utterly out of place in this bloody, brutal base. Ding! Discovered invincible level ability, user super rare target, Zhou Ruashi. Beauty score 98. Conquer her. The host will receive a mythical invincible level reward. The system's prompt made Lin Yang's heart skip a beat. Invincible level. As Lin Yang observed her, Li Ying silently activated her mind reading ability on her. However, the moment Li Ying's spiritual power touched Zhou Ruaxi's consciousness, a vast ocean-like, warm, sun-like torrent of spiritual energy formed an impregnable natural barrier, violently rebounding. NGH. Li Ying was struck as if by lightning, letting out a pained groan. Her pretty face instantly turned pale, and a trace of blood seeped from the corner of her mouth. Terrified, she sent a frantic message to Lin Yang through their spiritual link. Brother, there's an unimaginably powerful barrier around her spiritual world. I can't read anything. And, Li Ying's voice trembled with sheer shock. It's like she knows who we are. Just then, Zhou Ruoxi waved her hand, dismissing the maids. The entire opulent room was left with only the three of them. She maneuvered her electric wheelchair slowly until she was in front of Lin Yang. Lifting her head, she looked at him calmly with her clear, untainted eyes. Then in a tone that struck like a thunderbolt, she spoke softly. You must be Lin Yang. I have been waiting for you for— Boom. Lin Yang's mind went blank. You? My name is Zhou Ruoxi. I am Zhou Baishan's adopted daughter. A bitter smile appeared on Zhou Ruoxi's face. Her words exploded in Lin Yang's heart like one bomb after another. My mother was Zhou Baishan's first wife. Many years ago, she lost a business war to your mother Lin Wanrong, the founder of the Lin Group. After that, she fell ill and passed away in despair. So Zhou Baishan's hatred for your Lin family isn't just because of that beast Zhou Long. It stems from this. For years, I have been secretly investigating him. Investigating his evil plunder system that steals others' abilities. Gathering evidence of his crimes. Zhou Ruoxi's gaze became resolute. I knew you would come for revenge, and I have been waiting for you. Because you are the only one who might be able to end his tyrannical rule. She looked Lin Yang straight in the eye and spoke word by word. Zhou Baishan's plunder system, while immensely powerful and seemingly invincible, has a fatal weakness. Every 7 days, he enters a 12-hour period of weakness. During this time, all the abilities he has plundered become temporarily useless, and his strength drops drastically. And tomorrow night is his only period of weakness this month. To prove her sincerity and gain Lin Yang's complete trust. And tomorrow night is his only period of weakness this month. To prove her sincerity. Under her control, a potted plant beside her, long withered from neglect, defied the laws of life as tender green shoots sprouted anew from its withered branches. In mere seconds, the shoots grew into leaves, and then a dazzlingly white flower bloomed resplendently at the tip of the branch. Ode to life, reviving the dead, reversing decay. This was the power of an ultimate class ability. The shock in Lin Yang's heart was beyond words. He was about to speak to discuss the specific revenge plan with this unexpected powerful ally. However, boom! The room's heavy alloy door was blasted open from the outside by a tremendous force. Zhou Baishan's face, dark as if it could drip water, appeared at the entrance. His icy gaze, devoid of any emotion, slowly swept across Lin Yang, and Li Ying in the room, finally resting on his adopted daughter. The air solidified in an instant. He hadn't just happened to pass by, he had come here deliberately. Could Zhou Ruoxi's defection have been from the very start a complete— It seems your father must show you today the consequences of betraying me. Zhou Baishan's words struck like an invisible heavy hammer against the hearts of everyone in the room. The air solidified in an instant. He hadn't just happened to pass by, he had come here deliberately. Could Zhou Ruoxi's defection have been from the very start a complete and utter death trap to lure Lin Yang in? Li Ying's body trembled violently. She forcibly suppressed the metallic taste in her throat, instinctively stepping in front of Lin Yang, her psychic power pushed to its limit, ready to fight to the death. Lin Yang's heart also sank, but he showed no panic. The solar true fire and lightning force within him had already begun to churn wildly. Every muscle in his body was in perfect combat readiness. Even if this was a trap, even if death was certain today, he would tear a chunk of flesh from Zhou Baishan. However, a scene no one expected unfolded. Zhou Ruoxi in her wheelchair showed neither the smile of a successful schemer nor the panic of being exposed. She only possessed a cold, all-seeing calmness. Under Zhou Baishan's terrifying aura, she slowly stood up from her wheelchair. Her legs, weakened by prolonged illness, now stood straight. Father, you've finally shown your true face. Zhou Ruoxi's voice remained gentle, yet carried a power that pierced the heart. She stared directly at the demonic figure at the door. Do you think everything I did was under your surveillance? Do you believe every word I spoke today was a script you— Zhou Baishan's brow furrowed for the first time. Events seemed to be slipping from his control. Do you think I didn't know about the spies you planted around me? Do you think I didn't know every word I said would reach your ears? A mocking smile curled at the corner of Zhou Ruoxi's mouth. Of course I knew. So I spoke of your weaknesses in front of them. Because those words were meant for you. What do you mean? Zhou Baishan's voice turned sinister. It means I never needed to wait for your so-called weakness period. Zhou Ruoxi's voice suddenly rose. She spun around swiftly, and before Zhou Baishan could launch his attack, she grabbed Lin Yang's arm with one hand and Li Ying's wrist with the other, lightning fast. Now, Zhou Baishan roared, and a massive claw of pure dark energy tore through the air, hurtling toward the trio. He would crush these three who dared challenge his authority, along with the entire room, into dust. Lin Yang's ability was about to erupt, but at that moment, He felt an indescribable vast and overwhelming power explode from Zhou Ru. This power was not the gentleness of Ode to Life. It was an absolute dominion that warped space and tore dimensions. Spatial teleportation. The figures of the three began to warp violently like the surface of water struck by a stone, then turned transparent and vanished completely from the spot. Boom! Zhou Baishan's terrifying attack struck empty air. The entire luxurious presidential suite along with the top floor was brutally erased from the sky tower in a deafening explosion. Violent gusts of air mixed with debris of steel and concrete swept in all directions. Zhou Batian hovered midair staring at the empty ruins, his face showing an expression of loss of control for the first time. He let out a sky-shaking, disbelieving roar. Spatial ability. You have been hiding a spatial ability all along. His proudest feeling of total control was utterly shattered. His adopted daughter, whom he thought was a canary in a gilded cage, the most fragile and obedient white lotus, had hidden so deeply. Not only did she possess the ultimate class Ode to Life, but she also possessed the equally ultimate class strategic ability, spatial teleportation. He had been deceived, completely and utterly toyed with by his most beloved daughter. His furious roar materialized into tangible sound waves spreading across the entire sky base. The next second, space twisted in the central plaza beneath the sky tower. The figures of Lin Yang, Li Ying, and Zhou Ruoxi appeared out of thin air. Screech. The screech of brakes sounded as the revenge chariot like a black beast performed a perfect drift and stopped steadily beside them. The door opened. Tang Shiqin, Murong Shui, and Li Yuqing rushed down from the car, their faces filled with anxiety and killing intent. Seeing Lin Yang safe and sound, their anxious hearts finally settled. Well done. Lin Yang gave Zhou Ruoxi a thumbs up. This time it was genuine admiration from the depths of his heart. A faint smile appeared on Zhou Ruoxi's pale face. She turned around facing the guards in chaos from the top floor explosion and shouted with all her remaining strength, her voice clear and resounding. Listen, everyone in Sky Base. Zhou Batian acts against justice and treats lives like dirt. To gain immense power, he secretly murdered his comrades and used his evil system to steal your abilities. Today is the day he pays for all his blood debts. All who refuse to be his pawns, lay down your weapons. Restore order today. Her words struck like thunderclaps in the ears of every guard. Some guards, long dissatisfied with Zhou Baishan's tyrannical rule, showed hesitation and struggle on their faces. And at that moment,